Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next few hours, along with Mike.
Hey, good morning. Hi there.
Good morning. And Spence is here with his tail you can see behind him.
I know.
He's happy.
Mr. Cat has been driving me crazy this morning,
sorry.
plopping down on my breakfast, plopping down on the newspaper, plopping down on my keyboard. So
Make sure
he'll lose interest soon enough.
make sure he's logging into the chat before he starts typing, though.
That's it.
Bruce is going to be here in a minute. He had to make some adjustments. Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is being brought to you by that VidBlaster guy, Tom Sinclair, at vidblasterguy.com. And the show is also made possible by Bamboozer at bamboozer.com. And we have another sponsor this morning, Emily Parks of Organize for Success. If you need to get more productive or tame your technology, Emily can help. She offers one-on-one consulting, teams. She sets people in teams. And she does speaking, presentations, and workshops. If you want more information, www.organizeforsuccess.biz.
Boy, if she came over here, she'd get out of the business.
You mean she'll quit?
Big time.
Big time. And let's see here. I need to also give Julie a...
Hey everyone, it's time to get off the couch and overcome procrastination. Procrastination is about fear. What are you afraid of? Do you even know what you're afraid of? This workshop will help you step out of fear and move forward. You get 3 nationally known experts, see from the comfort of your home, interact and ask chat or Skype a question, review the workshop as many times that you want for a week, and have 3 different perspectives for one problem. Here to join us is one of the panelists, Geraldine Thomas, a professional organizer. You might have seen her on Hoarders. Geraldine's going to give you a quick preview of what you're going to learn from her.
What are you guys waiting for? Come on, stop the procrastination. Join us next week as we go through procrastination, motivation, education. You know it's not about the stuff, but we're going to talk about the stuff. The stuff in your head, the stuff in your house, the stuff in your car, the stuff in your garage, just stuff all over the place. Hope you can make it.
For more information, go to reawakenyourbrilliance.com, and you can save $5 with the code RYBPRONO. Hope to see you next Tuesday, and remember, if you can't make it live, it will be recorded. So get off the couch and overcome procrastination now.
All right. And this is going to be a pretty good workshop there. What is Andrew saying? Stuffing?
I don't know. She yelled at me. He's upset.
Oh.
He's probably got a hangover.
And Alan, I didn't see any, I didn't get any skip here. I was trying to listen to, but I couldn't. Anyway. Let's see, what else is happening? Is there any news before I get to my part of the news?
Let's see here. Andrew Zarian's birthday is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I believe someone locally is having a birthday today.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Spencer.
No, we stopped counting.
Spence, it's your birthday? And I don't know it? How'd Mike know?
Mike knows all.
Dang, he's got his
pornographic memory.
Feelers out there into the database that Homeland Security is creating.
Well, I got to open my new Bosch left-hand circular saw this morning.
Ooh.
I gave my son I had two. I had a cheap one that I bought
I
a
need
couple
to
years
make
ago,
an adjustment.
Ryobi,
I need
and
to
a
make
pretty good one from 25 years ago from Sears that I gave to my son, knowing that I wanted to buy a new one. And does anybody have a one of those battery-powered circular saw kits they have? Ryobi
Not
makes. They're great for handy little things, but it's a left-hand blade, they call it. And
You can
most
actually
circular
see
saws
where the blade's going.
Yeah. So I said, they make them. They don't make many of them, but they do make them. And I did some research, and I bought a very powerful 15 amp Bosch left-hand circular saw to add to my collection of tools.
I got plenty of tools. I just don't know how to use them.
Well, I have weight restrictions and all this stuff until for the next couple of weeks, and I was able to rebuild a clever birdhouse that we had that kind of fell apart. It's a birdhouse that has a big face on the front, and the birds go in through the nose. It's kind of clever, but everything about it was wood except for the face, and it just disintegrated and fell on the ground. And I remanufactured it from a bunch of cedar I had bought. That was my project this past week in little bits. Got to be careful with power tools.
Well, that's for sure. In fact, I have a power tool here I might ought to bring over, and you and I can check it out. I'm supposed to write a review on it, and I don't have anything to test it on.
Oh, what is it?
Laminate trimmer, which is another name for a small handheld portable router.
Oh, cool.
I'll send you
so
some
it does.
info.
It's like on the job for trimming laminate.
Yeah, well, I mean, who uses laminate anymore? But anything that's small. I mean, what's a router? A router's a motor. So all that you can do is just different iterations of how you attach things to it, and what it uses standard 1/4-inch bits, but it has multiple bases on it that allow you to trim it and to trim into certain corners and things like that. It's a really neat thing. It's a DeWalt tool, but I don't think I can do it justice because I don't have any way to really test it. So I don't know. Maybe we'll take a look at it.
Having a small one would be handy because the big ones you just can't get into tight spots.
Well, I'll find this information, send it to you, see what you think. If I can figure out where it is. Actually, I may know where it is.
I thought I'll be using the T1 to stream to Vaughn, and it was a little bit too much for that, so I switched back to Time Warner. But let me see, and that's very interesting. Let me see here. Are we still on? We're still on. I can't believe that. I had to disconnect the network from one network to another, change the networking configuration of that machine, and never dropped the connection to Vaughn. That's amazing. Wow. Okay, well, we're good.
Yeah, I have a dumb question.
Yes, sir.
How do if I've logged in as something into chat and now want to log in as something else, how do I
/quit.
I don't know. Because then how do you log in? If you reload the page.
Yeah, I can log out, but I'd still I guess I have to restart the browser, not just refresh it. My
Okay,
session
now that
stays.
may do
it's
it.
persistent.
You log in with a different browser.
Yeah, that's an idea. I can do that.
Andrew. I was going to ask Andrew a question earlier. Oh. Andrew, when you're doing the like right now, I'm doing 24/7 to Vaughn. Isn't it going to mess him up with the recording? There's no way to stop the recording. How do you handle that? I mean, I want to be nice.
So you're thinking you're going to burn up all of their available hard drive space by broadcasting 24/7?
There's no facility to stop it or to say.
Well, if
don't
it's an issue
record.
with them, they'll have a way of stopping it.
It's his problem, not mine. Well, all right.
I had that same discussion with the guys at Mixler. I said, people are broadcasting 24/7. You automatically record everything that's being broadcast. After a while, it's going to get really expensive.
Yeah.
We're not worried about it. We've got plenty of space. Boy, about 3 or 4 months later, they came out with a utility that allowed you to turn recording off and on.
Yeah, he should have that.
Well, I agree with Andrew. It's their problem. When it's an issue, they'll make a solution for it.
Well, I like to be proactive if I can help. Yeah, Andrew, I know it's 24 hours, but can you imagine how many gigabytes can be recorded in 24 hours?
Well, it's their problem.
I know. Oh, yeah, happy Mother's Day, everybody. Almost forgot. Now, listen to this. According to an email from Google spokesman, YouTube will be offering a $1.99 a month subscription service as early as this week, the past week. This service will bring even more great content to YouTube for our users to enjoy and provide our creators with another vehicle to generate revenue from their content. Though there was no indication of what content will be offered through the service exactly. YouTube has offered rentals for specific videos before, but this is the first time the service would go head-to-head with subscription services like Netflix. That's interesting. I wonder what they're going to give you for that $1.99 subscription. They did not say what.
Well, this has been discussed quite a bit on several other shows. I think Andrew went into it as well. There are going to be multiple, if I think I'm correct on this, there are going to be more, I wasn't listening that closely, there are going to be multiple levels of subscription. Certain things will be a certain price, certain channels will be a certain price, pay-per-view events will have their own price, all sorts of things of that nature.
Yeah, but I mean, are you going to get more than what you're getting right now?
I would think that, are you asking whether it's going to be that you just have to pay for what you're seeing now, or there's going to be new content?
Right, that's what I'm asking.
At additional cost.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
My understanding is it is new content at additional cost.
What can they offer at new content? Movies?
They can offer movies, original TV series. They could offer any number of boxing matches, pornography. I mean, offer anything they want. Once they start charting cat videos.
Yeah, that's a new offer. They can have the viral cat video of the day. Just playing
offer anything they want. If I've got to go, I mean, if I have to pay to go on there and to watch someone do a cover of Cats in the Cradle with them playing along with a guitar and singing about like I do, no, I wouldn't pay for that.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what they come up with. What is Andrew saying? Every channel he saw was $4.99 to $14.99 on what?
YouTube. Their subscription model is he says that when he was looking into it, that there were no 99 or $1.99 channels. They were $4.99 to $14.99. I mean, they're trying to.
Wow.
Well, I mean, what is just all it is competing with cable. This is one of the reasons that, as far as I know,
that's that. Go ahead. Sorry.
This is one of the reasons that Time Warner wants to put bandwidth caps on the internet, because now YouTube is in direct competition with HBO and all these other cable-only channels.
Yeah, I guess YouTube needs to come into town and set up their own fiber, huh?
Oh, well, let's turn it all off. Go back to reading a book.
I actually did that last night for the first time.
I'm actually reading several books right now. It's staring at this lighted screen is starting to have a deleterious impact on my vision.
Well, I was warned before the surgery that they said, "Oh, you won't want to look at a computer, you won't want to watch television or anything like that," and it didn't happen to me that way. But I was prepared to read, and I wasn't sure how that would work. But having a Kindle, because it's not backlit, they said, "Oh, that will be good because you won't want to look at a backlit screen." I just didn't have that experience. It didn't bother me. Some people,
That's
it
good.
does.
That's really good.
Oh.
Well, you said other people have that experience. Is this a problem that you had? Is it fairly common? Is it well known?
Well, after any kind of brain surgery, they say people have come out of it. I talked to several people who have had different types of brain surgery, and they said that the first couple of weeks they just weren't comfortable looking at anything that was backlit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure why, but the only issue I had the first couple of days was the pain meds. I had trouble just following anything with my eyes. Somebody would walk across the room, and it was like
a lot of people pay big bucks for that experience.
Yeah, that's right. I experienced. I was in the hospital. I experienced something that was so bizarre. It was the first day, and they had me on an IV, and they had the button little. I don't know what they were giving me. It could have been morphine. I don't know. It was whatever it was. It was. I did not feel pain, not intense pain anyway. But they gave you a button that you could press that would give you a shot at whatever it was that you were getting if you had intense pain. But it wouldn't let you keep pressing it. It would. You'd press it once, and then it would. You'd have to wait 15 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever before it would do it again. But I can remember sitting there, my family's all in the room, and I'm kind of just dozing in and out. But I'd be aware of what was going on in the room, and I kind of closed my eyes for a second, and it was like I was dreaming. Somebody would walk in the room and be standing there, and I'd open my eyes, and they weren't there.
And
everything else was consistent from when I closed my eyes and opened it. Other people were still there. It was really strange.
Kept on pressing the button. Hey, Andrew.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you?
I'm actually hot. I'm going to go turn on the air conditioner.
I'm hungover.
Sure. Tell Jess to let you down, to cut the rope.
Jessica left. She went to go see her mom. We went out last night for my birthday dinner, and
so it's yours too.
No, tomorrow's my birthday, but we went out on Saturday.
For happy birthday.
Thank you. I had a few too many cocktails last night, so
any excuse for Andrew to drink is a good one.
It's always a good excuse to drink. It's always a very good excuse to drink. You know, I wanted to talk about something that I'm having a big problem with, and that's how a lot of these chat clients that we use nowadays, it's so scattered, and everybody is chatting on all different services. I got a message from somebody during the week, and I was going to help them out, and I told them I would contact them back over the weekend. The problem is I can't find the question that he sent me. I looked in my email, I looked on Skype, I looked on Google, I looked on GChat, and I can't for the life of me remember what service he contacted me via. And I'm thinking, this has to be a problem for a lot of people, because nowadays, I mean, rather than generally people send emails and they say, you know, here's my question, what can I do, or could you help me out? But now people are contacting you via Google Voice, Google Chat, Gmail Chat, and Facebook, and it's sometimes Twitter. And I wish that there was one universal chat like we used to do, like with AIM or Messenger or Skype, that 99% of people know to contact you on.
Well, everybody, I think, likes to play with something new to them, or the way that you can control that,
Yeah, but it's interesting because I'm noticing this happening more and more, where generally I think like everything is a casual hello now rather than a email, writing you a letter. I think we've kind of changed the way that we communicate, and now whatever service you're on, if I see you logged on, I'm just going to send you a message and say hey and try to talk to you no matter what time it is or what I'm using.
Yeah, so what you need to do is you need to unsubscribe and cancel everything and just keep Skype or just keep Google Voice.
I'll give you an example. I got a message at 2:30 in the morning last night from somebody, and they wanted to talk to me about, starting a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't respond. I didn't respond to the email. They contacted me again at 3 o'clock in the morning. They were, hello, are you there? and like, now I'm thinking it's become so, the basic hello has become so comfortable for people. I wish there was a service that I could have like a message on all of them, where when they message me, I could just say like, hey, listen, I don't respond to business messages on this. Please send an email.
Yeah, and when they expect you to be there at 3 in the morning and they get annoyed if you're not there. Hey, are you there?
Yeah. I don't know. I just encountered this issue and I thought about it because I know Mike, I had a discussion with him and he was telling me how he got an email and for the life of him, he couldn't find the email. And I think you ended up finding it. This was a couple months ago, and I'm having the same exact problem right now. Because I feel bad. I promised this person I would contact them, but I have no idea how they got in touch with me or what the question was exactly.
Well, it's interesting you bring this up because I don't even know if I've mentioned this to you in the past week, but I've started getting... I'm not getting answers to emails I'm sending out. People are just not answering them as promptly as they used to, and it's not just I can't find a pattern to it. I sent an email to a guy a week ago. He answered it last night, and his answer wasn't really good, but he answered it. Now, understand that if he needs something, he sends me an email, and if I don't answer it within an hour, he'll call. But so I think I'm going to start developing this isn't the answer to your question, but I think I'm going to start noticing how long it takes people to respond to my emails, and then I'm going to write it down. And when they write me, I'm going to take that long to respond to their emails.
I agree with you. I think that's something that's happening because I'll send emails out and I won't get a response for a couple of days when I know that they saw this email and it's a quick question. Or if I have a problem with Mike knows. I was contacted by a microphone company that begins with an H and ends with an L. So you guys could figure out the rest. And they wanted to do some sort of promotion with us and the IIB. And they were interested in, sending over mics for the studio and setting it up. And I said, okay, I think that's a good idea. And the communication just stopped one day. Just totally stopped. Sent an email. Never got back to me, sent another email, is everything all right? We were talking, I hope to continue this conversation. I get a email back, yeah, I just got swamped really with a lot of work. We still want to do this. We're going to send you an email in about a week. That was in November. I just sent them another email about 2 weeks ago, never heard from him. So yeah. I think this is something a lot of people do now. They start talking to you and then they're like, hey, I'll put it to the side, and then they just never get back to you.
It's probably overcommitment. People are probably overcommitting their time.
Yeah, I don't think they do it on purpose like that.
Well, I don't know, Amnon. Some people are just jacked. Well,
I make sure I respond to every email. I think a lot of people put it to the side and they just don't care.
Yeah, that's bad.
I know that a lot, maybe even a few people are as internet active as we are. Even Amnon is not active on Twitter. People will send a tweet to Amnon, probably get aggravated that he doesn't answer it in 5 minutes. Well, he not only doesn't answer it in 5 minutes, he won't answer in 5 days because he doesn't monitor it. And
You mean
but
people
that's okay.
cannot look at what's going on your Twitter and see, oh, he's not active. They don't see that?
I don't know. But if yours is mixed in with 1,000 others, I don't know that yours sticks out any more or less. They watch their particular column to see if you've answered and you haven't. Oh well. So, but I don't know what's going on. I mean, things seem to be cyclical. I've been in this position before where I felt like I was going to have to take a childish position such as I've advocated, but then things tend to work out, and we'll just have to see. But there may be a thing, there may be a situation where we're just too connected.
You know what? I just found the message I was talking about. Guess how it was sent to me? It was a public message on Facebook on Twitter.
Private message on Twitter.
Like a public message. Like he messaged me on Twitter. And, rather than sending an email, I get a message on Twitter. I don't understand. Like, that to me is baffling. If it's something to do with business and you send the question on Twitter and then, of course you get missed. I don't know. Maybe I just have this problem where I'm on too many services.
Well, I mean, I got a buddy who sends me, instead of sending an email, he'll send me a message on Facebook. And I don't log into Facebook that often. I maybe once a day, and some days I forget to do that. I have no idea. How long does Facebook save private messages?
Forever.
Okay. So at least they're there if you need to get back to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should have a notification on your at the top to tell you that there's something waiting for you.
Yeah, but you have to log in to see it.
You have to log in. Well, I have mine set up so that I use a Gmail account to notify me of any changes on Facebook so they don't flood my regular email. Yeah. Every time somebody posts a picture of their cat or something, I don't get a regular,
But this is interesting because I really, and this is not part of the discussion that we started a few moments ago, but I have no intentions of being any better connected on Facebook than I am now. I'm not a diehard Facebook user, and I don't intend to be. I think there are problems with the site. I think that quite candidly, I think that there are some inherent dangers in Facebook. They're probably what is the old thing? Old girlfriends looking up old boyfriends and vice versa, and getting into. I think that stuff goes on all the time. I've had people tell me that.
I use it just to keep track of mainly of family, what people are doing. The only time I ever really post anything is if we're on a trip, might want to share a picture or some event or something like that. But I don't. I remember when some people were new to Facebook, it's like, I just sat down to have a cup of coffee. I'm going to bed now. I'm going to read a book. It's like
that's how it used to be in the beginning.
Yeah,
Twitter was worse
too much
than that.
information. Too much information.
Steve, good morning.
Good morning, chaps and ladies and things like that.
Good morning.
Good
How
morning.
are things across the pond?
They've turned rather chilly, actually. It's like it's gone back to being the beginning of spring rather than the end of spring. It's rather
We
strange.
skipped
In fact, I had
spring
my
here.
open fire on again last night because it was really cold, and I thought, why am I sat here shivering like this? Coming up to the middle of June, this is insane. And I thought to myself, global warming, no wonder they've changed it to climate change instead, because it fits it much better, doesn't it?
I use the phrase naturally turbulent.
Yeah, well, it's just a normal cycle, I would call it as well. Good to seeing Spence looking and sounding so good.
Steve, if you haven't, check out somebody named Dr. Roy Spencer.
Dr. Roy Spencer, okay.
Yeah, look him up. He's got some great articles. He is a respected climatologist from University of Alabama at Huntsville.
Mm-hmm. And
Just
he says that. And he says that.
What's that?
And he says that
I don't want to get into the controversy
okay.
of
All right.
but just it's good. It's a good source of information that kind of goes, that is reliable, and he knows what he's talking about.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Well, it's. I think there's far too many agendas being catered for in the background rather than it being done for the right reasons.
there are some unexplained phenomenon related to global warming that has the majority of the so-called finished science pool out there scrambling to try to explain. And Roy Spencer has been an advocate for real data.
Lord Spencer?
Roy Spencer,
Oh.
Dr. Roy Spencer.
It's nice
He's
when
like
somebody
who's the British
stands by principle.
Who's the Lord? I can't remember his name. The British guy that always tries to get into these global warming conferences and keeps getting thrown out. Monckton, Lord Monckton.
I don't know. I don't really keep up with the news that much, to be honest.
He's a guy that
Yeah.
gets into these conferences and he'll start to talk and they'll basically tackle him and take him off the stage.
Yes, he sounds like a typical
He just
British type of person.
he's
a bit
Offered to
eccentric.
confront several scientists and say, "Okay, let's have a debate about it." And don't wanna
That's a
talk to him
big problem
because
with a
he's-
lot of things, though, isn't it? You say that you'd like. Well, they're always up front and they say, we're quite happy to debate it with people, blah, blah, blah. But they never actually give an opportunity for you to be able to
No.
do that. They make the noises that they will, but when you actually try and tie them down to that, they won't come back with a date or a time or anything. It's almost like a smoke screen, really, isn't it?
So, Andrew,
Yes, sir.
go
Oh,
ahead.
happy
I
birthday, by the way,
I
Andrew.
didn't mean to cut you in the middle.
No. I was done with my rant.
Okay.
If I could just make a little comment on that. It's years ago, the phone would ring and you would go and you would answer it, or not if you didn't want to. And then they brought in answer phones, which made it a little bit more convenient. The problem is nowadays everybody expects you to be there and answer or whatever instantly all the time because you've got your phone with you or you've got Facebook or you've got this push notification. So, it's completely changed from what it used to be. You would knock on someone's door or you'd ring their phone. And if they weren't there, it's like, I'll try again later. But now you're spoiled because you can leave messages and you can give them a prod and a poke and a push. And it's just terrible.
It's
Well, you're
extracted-
always available now, and I think people kind of anticipate you to always be there.
Well, it's, so there are times where I don't want to answer the door or I don't want to answer the phone. But it's like almost expected now. If you hear a phone ring, you've got to race to answer it. Whenever has that been the case?
Well, you know what else? What else is bad? If you weren't there, people could leave you a voicemail. Now, with Facebook, you could actually see if someone opened the email, the message on Facebook, and just decided not to respond to you.
Well, I used to have that in the old-fashioned days, back with Hotmail, I think, or other email clients. The proof of receipt or something like that. If it was opened at the other end, you'd get then a flag come back to say, this email was opened at the other end. For some reason, that seemed to stop. And instead of maybe because people complained about the privacy issue, and now we've gone completely turned-tailed and we're going back the other way.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's only because we allow it, you see. If we'd all sort of say to them,
Exactly.
actually, no, I'm sorry, but you've gone too far. Stop it immediately.
You're right. We do allow it.
I want to set up, I think you can in iMessage, because that's what I use for my chat client, and everything is kind of tied into this. So if you message me on Facebook, AIM, whatever it is, except for Skype, it does this. I want to set up an automatic response that says, I'm not going to get back to you for 24 hours if you message me.
You could probably do that. I
Or set
imagine.
something up that says, if this is a business-related question, please send an email.
There is another alternative that I always find works quite well.
you need to put up a message like you get when you call into some call centers. Due to an unexpected high volume of calls, your wait time will be 24 hours.
Simple answer is just don't have any friends. It works amazingly well.
If you would like premium access, please give your credit card number and we'll let you through immediately.
To continue in Spanish, press 2. That's actually what I'm going to add. Continue in Spanish, press 2.
Marco Cinco.
(919) 518-9773. Computers took a voice on Skype.
So did you see the story about how the International Space Station dumped Windows and went to Linux for reliability issues?
No.
Yeah, I put a link in the chat about it. Very interesting. So you know that had to be planned over time.
Of course.
Because of all the systems that run. If you ever saw pictures of the inside of the International Space Station, they have laptops everywhere running this or that system, and so for them to switch over, didn't they have a something was going on this past weekend with the space station? They had to do an emergency spacewalk for some leak.
I think they're still working on it.
There was an ammonia leak.
So something went wrong. I mean, it wasn't endangering them. I think it had to do with power systems or something like that. But they had to go out and do
the leak was
some
ammonia,
emergency repairs.
Which I was curious on how and why is it leaking ammonia?
How and why what?
It was leaking ammonia.
Oh, right. Ammonia gas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That has to be terrifying. I mean, it's amazing how far we've come, and it's still archaic the way that we send things into space, and we're strapping these rockets, we're putting it up there. But I mean, think about 100 years ago, people thought we would have a space station, floating around.
I mean
it's mind blowing.
Didn't you hear the story about Mars One?
No, what's the story?
They're reporting that 78,000 people have volunteered for a one-way ticket to Mars.
I know a lot of people that we could send to Mars with a one-way ticket.
A quick calculation shows that this means people lined up coast to coast in a line with only 40 centimeters per person. If you want, you can still go and sign up your worst enemy, or you can just look at some videos of the would-be travelers on their website. It's amazing. I mean, they were talking about it on the news, and they're saying that people had to pay in order to register.
Oh my God.
And yet
so maybe
it
wasn't. Maybe the whole story was just a scam, and they were just looking to rip people off to register.
I don't know, but I mean,
I think it's a Dutch company, a Danish company, something like that is backing it. This is for real. They are actually going to. It's a mission where they will go with enough supplies to start a colony. On Mars, and it will every 2 years a new ship will come with more people.
How long does it take to get to Mars?
It depends on the trajectory. It depends on when you go. There are different times of year that make it a short trip or a long trip.
Yeah, what is a short? Do you know?
There's a window.
I think it's 6 months for the short trip.
Really? That's it?
When you think about it, just having a life support system that will last 6 months.
I know. And when you're thinking, they can go great with supply and everything, but they don't have anything built there.
And the reason they say that it's a one-way trip is not what you think. It's not that they couldn't figure out a way to get back or once you're there and once you live in zero gravity and then low gravity, if you stay there more than a certain period of time, you can't come back to Earth because you lose too much bone density. You wouldn't be able to, and muscle, you would not be able to survive on Earth after you've been there. They said how much time it was, but just a 6 month, they know from the International Space Station that without vigorous exercise, you lose bone mass very quickly.
Well, they can do that over there too.
Yeah, but I think they're saying that once you live there, that's it.
Take
And
a
there-
lot of Tums.
I'm sure there are plenty of serious, intelligent people who have volunteered who want to go. I mean,
I have no interest. Would you
I
go?
wonder what
And
the
would anybody go?
odds
Would you
are
like
of
to live there?
surviving, but it'd be interesting to know.
If I was single, I may. Yeah.
Go to Mars.
Yeah. I mean, come on. This is
What if-
a
what if
chance
the
of a
women aren't
lifetime,
attractive?
kind of.
What are you going to do if there's nobody attractive there?
But it's but it's easy to say, yeah, I would, when you know that you're not.
I don't even want to go down the block.
I think as you get older, traveling just is like, oh, that's too much trouble, isn't it? If you could do like they do on Star Trek, where it's just like beam me up, Scotty, and you can zzz, zzz, and you'd be there. Yeah, I think most people would go just for the thrill of it. But it's going to take 40 years to get there. Forget it.
Yeah, and besides, I mean, I would love to go, but I can't because nobody else will be able to operate VidBlaster here by the license.
What are you gonna,
That's
I don't
your
think,
excuse.
I don't think the people on Mars could operate VidBlaster.
The license will not allow it.
The license won't allow it. It's only for Earth users. Careful.
Aliens are
Can
forbidden.
you imagine? Can you imagine? Team viewer from there?
Well, your latency will be about 10 days.
yeah. Yeah, don't expect anything instantaneous.
All right. We were talking about it yesterday, and we said, you know, if they call, first of all, when you talk, it's a long time, and then you say, you know, we're out of water. Okay, 6 months you'll have some, you know.
Yeah, it's we're so used to an instant society now. We, you know, fast food this and everything is made or done as quickly as possible, and you know, people just don't have time. It would be a nightmare, wouldn't it, to think, well, I got to wait. Like the old days, you were waiting for a parcel or waiting for a letter to come through, and you could be waiting weeks.
Yeah.
And now everything is so instant. It would drive me nuts if I couldn't have. You know, somebody said to me, "Oh, yeah, we can get that to you. It'll be end of next month." What? This is the 21st century, for goodness sake. Is my audio okay, by the way?
Yeah, it's fine.
Awesome.
I mean, when you go to, if you need a specialist doctor over there, how long does it take before you can get an appointment?
Well, I had a cancer. I won't say a scare, but something that could have been cancer that they wanted to check out, and it was the following week to see a specialist.
Oh, that's not bad.
I saw the doctor on the Friday, and I was in with the specialist the following Thursday.
Yeah, I would think that for something like this, but if you needed, I don't know, knee replacement.
Normally, well, my father had his cataracts done, and from the point of them
Okay.
saying that they need to be done, it was about
Let-
5 weeks, I think.
Yeah, let's not go with something that has
How
to
many
be
weeks?
done. 5.
About 5, I think it was.
Okay.
It isn't that bad, but equally, it doesn't always work like that. I mean, I have heard of cases from friends where they've somebody's been diagnosed with cancer that could be treated, but they can't get into treatment until after their term of life is over. So they say, like, you know, we'll give you 6 months to live, but the waiting list is 9 months before you can get in, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is a bit scary.
Yeah, well, it's coming here.
If you have money, you can usually deal with it and sort it out privately. But you don't have much choice over there, do you? You either got insurance or you have to pay for it privately.
Right.
Bruce is not having some good
Yeah, I
times
know.
with Skype, by the looks of it.
Reinstalling and reinstall.
Have you tried an earlier version, Bruce? I'm take it you're listening to us. I did have some problems some time back, and it wouldn't install the version that you can get from Skype. and I went to oldversions.com or something like that, and downloaded a version that was about 3 versions prior, and that loaded first time and worked first time.
Yeah, when I logged in this morning, I had Skype tell me, we're ready to update. And I said, no, thank you.
Yeah, I do that every time I load it. It says, oh, there's a new update. Would you like to? No, thanks.
He said he had an error version. I had that Skype now forces.
So, Bruce, are you on Windows 8 or 7? Or do you think it makes a difference? Or
Windows 8
you had problems
as an app.
A few times over the last month.
Windows 8 has got Skype built in as an app, but it's kind of stupid.
Built in, right?
It takes up the whole
through the
screen.
App Store. It's not through the
it does take over
equivalent of the App Store.
And Bruce went through a lot to do away with the Resident one and install.
I just removed it and then installed it all through the desktop, and it's fine. It's on a desktop instead of an app now. Works good. But that's the only thing I can think of is there's some incompatibility there somewhere, probably with a DLL or whatever you've got installed, that if you put a previous version, you probably find it be okay. Excuse me for on the microphone then.
Well, he did say that he had an earlier version. But he said, I hate that Skype now forces you with updater prompts.
Well, yeah, it just plagues you with them. You don't have to click it, but you've got to click no thanks. But it is annoying, but you can't stop them. Just say, look, I'm happy with the version I've got. I'll go and look for one when I want to update. Thank you.
I'm using 6.1.0.129. I don't think it's really recent. The copyright is still 2012 on it.
Mine's 5.10.0116.
Yeah, that's even older.
Quite an old one then. But, it's working. So
how about you guys, Mike Spence?
I'm using 6.1.0.129.
Yeah, that's what I'm using.
I'm 6.3.59.105.
Wow, you're...
Version 6.3
he's out there.
forces widescreen video now. There's no more 4:3.
The only time I usually upgrade is I try and connect with somebody or do whatever, and it comes up and says, oh, we can't because someone in this call or you're on an old version. And if it's something that I want to do that's important, then I'll update. Other than that, it's working fine. Don't mess with it.
So
I avoid the new ones. Sorry.
I was just going to say, Andrew, what were you saying that version 6.3 has no more 4.3?
Yeah, well, there is. In some bizarre scenarios, it does 4.3, but for the most part, it does 640 by 360 now rather than 640 by 480. So everything is widescreen.
What if your camera? Oh, well, I guess it's not an HD; it's a widescreen thing.
I mean, most new cameras do at least HD.
Well, if
So
it doesn't, what
HD.
is it going to do? Crop it?
If it doesn't have 16:9 in settings, it'll crop it.
Yeah, because this Apple thing over here doesn't have an widescreen camera on it, does it? The MacBook Air.
Yeah.
Is that what
Yeah,
you're
just
on?
give you black bands.
No, that's not what I'm on. That's what I have. I have it over here, but I don't use it.
Love the description, this Apple thing over here.
Well, let me say this. I think that feature only works on Windows. I'll just say that. I don't think it's working on the Mac yet, where it's all 16:9.
There was something else here.
Well, apparently it doesn't work at all, according to Bruce.
Oh, yeah, with the drives. It says, Seagate and Toshiba both offer hybrid hard drives that manage their built-in flash caches entirely in firmware. Western Digital has taken a different approach with its Black SSHD, which instead uses driver software to govern its NAND cache. The driver works with the operating system to determine what to store in the flash. Unfortunately, it's Windows only. You can choose between two drivers, though. WD has developed one on its own, and Intel will offer a separate driver attached to its upcoming Haswell platform. While WD remains tight-lipped on the speed, blah, 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 blah. But it's interesting that, are they stupid? They're not doing it for the Mac? What's the idea of coming up with just something for Windows?
Well,
I'm sorry, Emma, what did they do
time to market, because they have a much bigger opportunity out there. They maybe address Mac later.
That's true, yeah.
But this way they can get them out there quicker to a larger market share.
What is it doing on the Mac? I'm sorry.
It's the drive that Western Digital, the SSHD, will only work on a Windows machine.
Well, maybe it can only take advantage of the algorithms with a Windows machine.
No. The driver, there is no internal driver on the drive itself like every drive has today. They're using a driver that you install on the operating system.
Oh, how could you boot the operating system then if it didn't recognize the drive?
Wait a second. What, Andrew?
You're talking about the hybrid drives where they're half.
Yeah. This is an SSHD.
The one that they're developing with SanDisk. But Amnon, you couldn't boot the drive. You couldn't boot the machine if it didn't recognize the hard drive until the operating system loaded. So it's got to have hardware drivers built in.
WD has taken a different approach with its Black SSH, which instead uses driver software to govern its NAND cache.
What I'm saying is that's how you get the expanded features. It will still work as a hard drive. Just you can't take advantage of the algorithm that will choose. Like I have the hybrid from Seagate. That is the hybrid drive. That the algorithm is on board that decides what data gets placed into the flash. So what they're saying now is that they're going to use an application inside of Windows to make that determination instead of having it on board like Seagate does. So Seagate does it where they actually have the logic on the drive. Now they'll use the logic to decide what gets placed into flash in Windows. But the drive still has to operate as a normal drive in order to boot.
I don't know. That's what they were talking about, that it will only work. And I guess you could be right here. It may have something to just boot and then... But that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I think it's actually to do it at the operating system level would be probably far more intelligent, and you could make changes to it if it was written into the code on the drive itself. You're very limited unless you update the BIOS on the drive. You couldn't make any changes. Whereas if it's in the software of the OS, you could make changes, and you could go in potentially and prioritize something by just checking a box, which would be very good to say, I want this application to load first.
They're saying with Intel supporting this approach, the next generation of hybrid drives appears destined to be software-based.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea.
Maybe we can make it faster, slower. Who knows?
I want to make sure, and well, here's a hazard to it. Some guy figures out how to hack the system and make sure that viruses or pop-ups or some other annoying thing would load first.
Well,
just think of that.
You want controversy? You want to get the conversation going? The U.S. Department of Justice and the FBI believe they don't need a search warrant to review Americans' email, Facebook chats, Twitter direct messages. There you go, Andrew. And other private files. Internal documents reveal. Government documents obtained by the American Civil Liberty Union and provided to CNET show a split over electronic privacy right within the blankety-blank administration. with Justice Department prosecutors and investigators privately insisting they're not legally required to obtain search warrants for email. Think about it. No comments, huh?
I mean, what's the story? The government's going to do what they darn well please? That's not news.
Well, no, they just let us know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think
Sorry,
they've
I
been
just
doing it for
ground
some
my
time
teeth
now.
away.
Everything is public now. Everything you do is public and traceable, and there's no anonymity at all. I mean, if they want to find, if you said something and they want to find out exactly what you said, they can.
Sure.
And it's
Just to
all
go on the record, I love
cross-referenced.
the IRS. I love the government. I love the way I'm being treated wonderfully. I love it. I'm so happy.
I like that you don't actually have to think for yourself anymore. They just do it all for you.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nothing is private anymore.
All right,
But
Mike.
do you expect it? I mean, this is the same argument for the Facebook privacy stuff that people started freaking out over. I never expect it to be totally anonymous and to be totally private. Whatever I do or say on the internet, I expect could be traced back to me, and somebody's reading it somewhere.
Sure.
It is all a huge smokescreen, though. It's like this Snoopers Charter that they had in the UK. That's what it was named, Snoopers Charter, where they were going to monitor and look at and observe and store everything that happened online and communications, you name it. And there was such a huge outcry about it that they openly said to the public, okay, well, we're quashing this bill. We won't go further with it because there's so much of a public pushback against it. Well, that's it as far as they're concerned. They've told the public that they're not going to go through with it. Well, of course they're going to go through with it. They just tell us that they're not.
No.
What's interesting and really disturbing about the whole discussion is Eric Andrews posted, and Eric is younger. Eric says, Amnon, what's on your email that the government shouldn't see? And what that illustrates to me is the interesting part about this whole discussion is that the younger people have never had the privacy that we have enjoyed when we were that age and subsequent to that. And now these guys have no expectation of privacy equivalent to what we have, so they're willing to give up and let everything be told. And you know what? They're going to inherit the earth. If they want to do it that way, they're free to do it that way. But we old-timers prefer not to have everybody knowing everything about our business.
Maybe they're trying to boost the post office revenue.
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Go back to letters.
Yeah. And what was their quarterly operating deficit? Was like $1.8 billion, and yet you still see commercials for the post office on television?
Well, but the argument there is, and I don't know if it's true, but the argument there is that the only reason anyone would spend money to advertise is to make more money. The argument is that by running advertising, the advertising not only pays for itself, but it yields a net profit to the post office.
I kind of doubt. Oh, it's not working.
Well, who knows? I mean,
Right,
don't
know.
That's the old political argument that you say that, but if they didn't run the advertising, would the deficit be larger?
I think that they lost track. I know that the post office makes more money from junk mail and bulk mail than they do from regular mail. That's one thing I read recently, that more than 50% of their revenue is from
I've noticed
junk
this
mail.
over the last couple of weeks that probably a couple months that I'm getting very little mail nowadays. And it was like an overnight thing where there are days that I only get maybe 2 pieces of like flyers in the mail. I'm not getting anything in the mail anymore.
You sure you don't
Junk
have one of
mail
those
has cut
mailmen
down
that kind of dumps
tremendously.
all that stuff in a bin somewhere?
I don't know. Maybe someone's stealing my mail, but I mean, there are days that I get no mail at all, which is bizarre because I never remember it being that way. I think that the junk mail is even cut back tremendously.
Well, you're probably doing all your bill paying and everything online, so you don't see invoices and bills from people. what else do you get? Junk mail today, they do it through email anyway because it doesn't cost them.
Well, that's generally what I'm talking about. I mean, I have surprisingly, I have very little bills. I don't really have too many credit cards and stuff like that, but all my payments are done online. They don't send me an invoice. But, I mean, for years I've gotten tons of, do you want to apply for a Capital One card? Do you want an Amex? Do you want this? And I'm not getting those as much. Maybe I'll get it twice a week compared to every day getting 3-4 different, solicitations.
Well, there's an opt-out you can do. It's I don't remember. I can look up the URL, but there is a way to either call or go to a web page to try to opt out of all these financial opportunities. But you have to keep doing it because the
span.
Congress in their wisdom has allowed a financial institution to loosely partner with other financial institutions, which basically cancels out the opt-out law. So if you do banking with a bank that has a loose relationship with another financial institution that wants to sell you stock or oil futures or pork bellies or something like that, they get around the law by saying, oh, we have an affiliation with this other organization, so we can then send you this stuff. The same is true with the do not call list. If you work with an organization that can they can join a larger organization that says we're affiliated, so now everybody can buy that list and you get calls.
So let me ask you guys, do you guys still get magazines?
Sure.
I don't.
I get a few, yeah. I subscribe to.
Wait a second. What, Andrew?
I mean, the only magazines that I really get is from my dad. I get them, Popular Mechanics and Popular Science and stuff like that. But generally, I don't even subscribe to magazines anymore.
I subscribe to a bunch of online magazines, and I read absolutely none of them. If they don't want to send it to me in print, I don't want it. The only reason I take it digitally is because most of them require you to take both if you want to get the print, because they think that if you get used to reading it digitally that you'll eventually cancel your print subscription. But I don't even open them.
Spence, you were going to say?
I was going to say, I just have 2 subscriptions. I used to have more. I used to do like Air and Space and all these things. I never read them. I just never had time.
I read mine. I get a lot of audio magazines and broadcasting magazines. I actually read them all.
But I'm down to 2, and the 2 are, and I actually read them. One is Home Handyman, which it's one of the best magazines I've seen. That's not just for simpleton morons to try to, oh, here's how to put a nail in the wall kind of a thing. It actually goes through and has great suggestions. Some of it's a little tedious.
And the other one?
The other one is Rider Magazine, which is a motorcycle magazine.
Oh.
That's funny. That's one of the only magazines that I still get, actually, Rider.
That I like it because it's got a lot of good ads in it, products, but it's got great, just the regular columnists write stories about trips and things that they've done, and they always have a little historical section in the back. I have a friend who's into Moto Guzzi motorcycles, and he has no access to a lot of stuff, and I will forward him copies of the Moto Guzzi articles, and he loves it.
So, Mike.
Yes.
A U.S. appeals court has ruled that an abstract idea is not patentable simply because it is tied to a computer system.
That's old news.
What?
That's old. Go ahead.
Signaling that what one judge described as a death of software and business method patents. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit ruled Friday that 4 patents held by electronic marketplace Alice are too abstract for a patent, despite a long-standing legal assumption that software running on a computer is eligible for patent. The implications of the case are huge, wrote Judge Kimberly Moore, dissenting in part with a majority decision. The ruling in CLS Bank versus Alice gives staggering breadth to what is meant to be a narrow judicial exception on patent ineligibility. And let's be clear, if all these claims, including the system claims, are not patent eligible, this case is the death of hundreds of thousands of patents, including all business method, financial system, and software patents, as well as many computer implemented and telecommunications patents. Are you going to go read about it?
No.
Oh. So does that mean that a way you do business is not patentable? Like somebody can look at QuickBooks and say, oh, that's how they do it. Okay, I'm going to do mine the same way.
Well, it is so complicated. It's extremely, extremely complicated. I'm looking one thing here very quickly if I can find it. Because I understand exactly what they're saying. I understand part of it. Let's see here. The
CLS Bank versus Alice.
No, I'm not looking at the case. What happens is that the way the law works, United States Constitution, is the government passes a law, then the courts interpret that law.
Right.
Whenever the interpretation is counter to what the government thought it was going to do, or the law of unintended consequences takes hold, or the legal analysis of the law is definitely more involved than the morons who passed it understood, then then the government can go back in and change the law. So anytime you see these gross exaggerations of the world is coming to an end because of this court decision, if it's really an undesirable result, then I'm trying to find something while I'm talking. If it's an undesirable result, then the Congress will go back in and change the law. Having said that, I got to find this render-friendly version. Let's find this. So this business of patents, business methods, patents for software, this has been kicked around and kicked around and kicked around. It has always been an unsure area of the law. And do I think that this one court case is going to be the end of all business method software patents? Could be, but I'm not going to sit here and venture to offer that is the case, because if nothing else, think about it. If the decision is that wide-reaching, then it's going to be appealed to the Supreme Court. They're going to have the final say-so. And decisions from the CAFC that are appealed to the Supreme Court are not shoe-ins. They're not automatically affirmed. Many, many times they're reversed, and unfortunately not necessarily on the best of grounds. But that's the way that cookie crumbles. So we'll see. It's the same way on this. Whenever these morons started bragging about Apple winning over Samsung, oh, it's a new day, it's a new world, everything's different, Apple owns the world now. Well, not quite, because of all the appeals, all the subsequent lawsuits. It's just not that simple anymore.
Yeah. It's. I mean, you really have to be an attorney to understand this.
Well, even they don't understand it all. I mean, think about it. And I'm not being funny. No, I'm not being funny when I say that. Think about it. This case is being decided by the Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit. Everyone involved in this whole situation is an attorney. All of these attorneys disagree on what the law should or shouldn't say, or does or doesn't say. So being an attorney does not mean you understand it.
Yeah. Bruce, you are hearing us, right? Hopefully on the phone. It's interesting. Bruce is saying that he's clearing the. Well, if you're clearing the registry and all that, remember one thing, that when you log in to Skype, it goes and gets your profile and everything from Skype, and there may be something in that profile that's screwing it up. what I would try and do is just set up another account real quick, use a different email address, and see if it works under that profile. I mean, once you're done, you can try that. If it still doesn't work. I wish I thought about it to begin with. 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice.
Hey, Amnon, did Bruce try deleting the app data files for Skype? There could be something in that.
Yeah, that's true. That even uninstalling keeps that stuff around.
I mean, it could be that it's stuck there.
Yeah.
I think he has to show all hidden files, go into a C drive. I think it's app data, or I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's in one of those folders.
It is app data, yes.
It is, okay. And then you'll see a file that says Skype. If you wipe that out, it'll take away all the profile stuff, and it'll get rid of the XML and everything else. We still don't have an alternate, huh? There's no other option.
Alternate?
No, to Skype.
Oh. No, there isn't. And I saw something on the IIB, but it doesn't seem like that's what it is. It was a funny name.
Fiverr.
Yeah.
It's a piece of junk. Don't even bother.
Yeah, I mean, I went and looked at it, and that's not what it is.
No, the video doesn't work on it.
Do we have anybody on the chat that's using an Apple, a Mac, something without Flash?
I have a Mac, but I'm using Flash.
What?
I have a Mac, but I'm using Flash.
Yeah, I need to. I think I finally figured out how to make an MP4 that would work on iOS, but I have no way of testing it.
MP4. What are you trying to do?
To post like a class online for Julie, and people can come later on and see it and put it as FLV. Works great. Or
when I was helping TalkShoe out ages ago and was trying to revamp their help pages with videos and things, because the training that the training videos that they use are the ones that I produced goodness knows how long ago, and I created a site to simplify their help pages so they weren't so confusing. And I had standard HTML, and then I also created the same videos, which were originally MP4, for playing on an iPad or an iPod or iPhone. And they were tested by a few people that were on Macs, and they all worked fine.
I came across, I didn't know about it, JW Player. And right off the bat, it says that it works in Flash and HTML5. So I downloaded it, and I thought that it will encode any file into whatever, but it doesn't encode. All it does is it takes it and sends it. So the Flash didn't work.
You know who you should talk to, Amnon? You should contact Suncast, because we're changing the player on our video, and he's been playing around with a bunch of different players that do that allow HTML5 video.
Yeah, I think I got it. There's but it's a process. I went ahead and created an MP4, then I had to go and use a program. Oh shoot, it's on my other machine. Something that makes it start fast, as in stream, not wait until it downloads the whole thing. and try that, because before that, all the MP4s that I had it would just play the audio and no video. But if you started locally, it plays like it's supposed to.
You have to look at what codecs you're using. What are you using to convert the file?
AIS, what is it? AISEE soft.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of converting from FLVs. You run into a lot of trouble when you're converting from an FLV to something else.
Well, I mean, it works okay, but I have no choice, because right now I'm not recording the show. Because I'm running at 78% CPU. If I start the recorder, it's going to go to 100. So I can't use a recorder. So they record it as FLV, and that's what I download and take care of that. I'm looking at the chat window now, J.W. Hughes. Was I supposed to see something that I missed? He says to call in via Skype.
Don't you have to add the person as a contact?
Not as a Computers 2K voice, but if you, I guess that may
Send
be
a
him.
request. What are you waiting on?
Well, I don't know if that. Oh, John, is that you? All right, yeah, I just added you. I don't think you need to, because I've got it. Anybody can. Let's see, tools, options. Where's the privacy or whatever? Privacy. Yeah, allow calls from anyone.
And Amnon, you were asking about Flash. You can go onto any of your computers and uninstall Flash through Add Remove Programs and test it to see if it works.
It's a little bit more than that, because you have all those plugins and add-ons. Yeah, but that's a good idea.
They're all listed. Adobe Flash Player 11 ActiveX,
Yeah.
Adobe Flash Player 11 plugin, Adobe Shockwave Player 11. Just uninstall it all.
That's right. That's right. Okay, now why didn't I think about this?
You just don't. This aging thing, I think you and Tom are having issues there.
Did I disconnect everybody on Skype?
Yeah, haven't disconnected me.
Oh,
No,
there
I'm
they
here.
are. There they are, yeah. I don't know why, but Computers 2K Voice, if I go to Home, it just spins and spins and spins and spins. It's been like this for about 2-3 weeks.
What version of Skype are you using on that?
This is pretty new, because, let's see, about, and there's John. Well, I did add to group call. There he goes. It is 630-105. But it's just weird. If I click on the home, it's like there is no Skype home anymore for me. It just spins, and I left it for hours like that. Nothing happens. So I always go and click on Computers 2K now, and I'm in voice, and I forget I need to click on the recent to see everybody. Hey, John.
Hello. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. So you tried to connect before?
Well, when I pulled up Computers 2K Voice, there was two choices: video call and a phone call.
Right.
But I didn't want to pick a video call, because I assumed you just wanted voice. So I thought it would just say voice call. So that was a little confusing for me. But once you added me, I said, okay, what the heck? I still only have those two choices. So I did the video call, but I turned off my video.
Yeah, because that machine will never. I can't take the video from this machine and put it on BitBlaster. And if you want me to see you, that's fine. But it just uses more bandwidth. That's not. But I can't. That's why it's called Computers 2K Voice.
No, I got that.
But
the choices, it only showed video call and phone call. So that's why I was confused.
But my concern is, it's like you were saying that, could you not connect before I added you?
I didn't try.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
I don't think you can, Amnon, because I know what he's talking about. There's not a connect icon.
Well, I mean, when I say here in the options, under...
Actually, let me think about that just a second.
Privacy. It says allow calls from anyone or just people in my contact.
I'm not sure that works, though.
Allow calls to my Skype number from anyone. Automatically receive video and share screens with people in my contact list. So video I don't accept. I don't accept. But I don't know. But that's okay, John.
My original problem was I usually log in as John _Florida, but I disconnected myself because I had a problem with my Bluetooth headset. But I guess John Florida is still showing in the chat. So.
That's correct. It doesn't get cleared.
Oh, okay. So there's nothing I could have done to
you see. I never tried it, but Mike is saying if you do /quit and restart the browser, it may work. I wonder if
No. If you do /quit, you can log back in immediately. But if you lose your connection, you don't have the opportunity to type
Oh, that's
/quit.
true. That's true. That is true. Now, what happens if I do it?
If you voluntarily want to leave, type /quit. And then you can come back in again afterwards. But if it happens because your browser crashes or your net drops or something like that, then no, you can't come back in using the same name.
Or if I just click X out at the top.
No.
Okay.
You have to physically quit from the chat itself in order to release your name.
I guess I should have known that, but I didn't know that. So sorry to take up time with the.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
No problem. It's a learning curve.
All right. I'm going to hang up and go back to listening. Thanks, guys.
Wait a second. Hold it.
Okay.
Okay, now if I do, let's see. I'm trying to see if I can knock you off and then let you log in again. Clear, connect, debug. Invite John. Kick. There's a kick. Let's see. Kick. And what were you?
John _FLA.
John _FLA. Okay, I typed it and it didn't return anything. What happened if you reload the page?
I tried that.
Well, there you are. You're still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you have to use a capital J and capital F.
That's true. Kick. John _FLA. Kick. John FLA.
If you get a sudden pain in your leg, John, you know why.
All this kicking.
It's not taking you off. I don't know why. Maybe that's not the right command. I thought kick would be the one.
Did I hear Bruce?
No.
Oh. He's still trying to get things working.
There's kick. There's leave. Redirect, rehash, and yeah, I don't play with it enough to know what to do with this with the chat. But
probably worthwhile to find out at some point, because everybody in here is always pretty cool, pretty nice. But it's possible to get an idiot that you might want to bounce out.
Absolutely.
Well, we had a couple of those, and we've successfully got rid of them. So
if I reload the page.
As long as Amnon doesn't let the power go to his head, he should be fine.
No guarantees on that one.
It's already happened.
I'll clean.
He won't even make me an admin. He has to keep that control under his belt.
Uh-oh.
It is good. When I used to run the chat room for the site I ran many years ago,
there.
it was good fun because you do get some numpties, as I like to call them, coming in, disrupting it. And it is nice to have a button that you can just click and say goodbye.
Yeah.
And then you sit there giggling like a little kid. It's great.
No, can't get rid of it. Never mind.
Are we at a point where we can introduce a new technology subject?
Oh, absolutely. You can always do that. What?
We're sitting here.
Oh, no,
yes,
I was away. I didn't want to interrupt. If you guys were talking about something, I
They
didn't want to
came
start
and took you away. Haha.
Well,
okay.
First, I do have specials, but I'm going to have to leave around 11:30 because there's a Mother's Day / birthday brunch that's going to be happening. So I have to be prepared to drop everything and go to that. But
okay.
I stumbled across a very interesting story for those of you who are interested in networking, but beyond just Ethernet and basic networking. This article I found, the title of the article is "High Frequency Stock Traders Turn to Laser Networks to Make Yet More Money." Now, I take the position of the author is that they are not real happy with stock traders making tons of money. Okay, they come out and they say that essentially at the beginning of the article, that the reason why they're going to these new laser networks is to reduce the latency of automated trading. But as I read the article, it became a technology article, which was extremely interesting, how they are replacing even fiber optic networks now with new technology, both microwave and optical, that fiber or just over-the-air laser that is so fast. The example they give here is that they can change the latency of a network by using this new technology from, let's see here. Let me find the exact spot. They recently, Perseus Telecom recently completed a microwave link between London and Frankfurt that reduced the round-trip latency to just 4.6 milliseconds from 8.35 milliseconds, what it was before. Now, that may not sound like a big deal because it's, what's 4 milliseconds among friends, right? But the point is that with these very high capacity trading networks, a little bit of latency, even that much, can amount to millions of dollars a year in additional revenue, profits, whatever you want to call it. And this is some new technology. It's called either free space microwave or free, and what they're also calling free space laser technology. They can have short distance up to 10-kilometer links. And this is not a new concept. This was around back in the, I remember selling this over 10 years ago as having a way to jump across right of way where you could not put a fiber optic link in between two buildings. You could go with these laser networks that would do a laser bridge between two buildings. Very high capacity and worked well even in bad weather. So now they're talking about something called Advanced Wavelength Diversity, AWD technology.
Just put a laser printer in each window on each building?
What's that?
Nothing. Keep going.
Well, this is actually, I was watching the video here of this company that has a product now, and they're talking 10 gigabits through the air. What they did was they took U.S. defense contractor technology and are now making it available to the general business world, and using something called adaptive optics to create what is starting out as short range, but they imagine it will go even longer range, or they can create a series of links that will be incredible speeds. And think about it. It will be much cheaper because just like microwave links, you just have to set up towers. You don't have to have the right of way to go across great distances.
Right.
It's remarkable stuff. I'll put the link up here from the article if anybody wants to read it. But this could be, I mean, this stuff starts out expensive and then the price comes down. This may be a way of actually having, if you can get a tower set up, and just like we have radio, like clear wire type connections in rural areas where it just wasn't cost effective to put in wired infrastructure, you may be able to deliver to a small town a high-speed link using this long-distance optical technology. Another leapfrog technology that jumps over what's out there currently, just like setting up the cell tower in that town in Africa that has no infrastructure. Suddenly now you've brought people forward with one simple implementation. Good stuff.
Sounds like it.
All right, I'm posting the link in the chat.
Let's see what else is going on here. I know we talked about that in the past, but the Senate aimed to help traditional retailers and financially strapped state and local governments Monday by passing a bill that would widely subject online shopping from any largely tax-free frontier to state sales taxes. The Senate passed the bill by a vote of 69 to 27. Where were the rest of them? Getting support from Republicans and Democrats alike. How many members in the Senate?
100.
Oh, so that's pretty good. Yeah, that's right then. Well, no. It's got to be more than in that case. No, that's right. Yeah. No, that's right. That's
while
right.
Two missing. My view on that has kind of changed. I'm not saying I'm in favor of it. I love buying stuff online without paying tax because North Carolina has their own way of collecting local sales taxes by either you let them calculate it as part of your tax based on your income or you actually report it. So they do get it. Well, at least North Carolina gets some portion of it. Gets something.
I think what is it? $30?
What?
I think it's $30.
Yeah, it's not a lot of money, but they get something. But the point is that I think while it's inevitable that sales tax gets collected somehow, the system that they're trying to set up and the software that I heard a guy talking about it on the air the other day saying, "Oh, it's not that complicated." You know, it is going to be really tough for small businesses, especially ones that sell online in multiple states, to try to handle this thing. It's going to be a disaster for them. But I do understand how a local entity can't compete with, a brick and mortar store locally can't compete with online. I understand, but I think that just throwing a tax out there and creating an undue burden for small online retailers is going to be a tough.
Well, I got an idea. Why not just cut the sales tax on the local guys instead of adding it to the internet guys? Oh, I'm sorry. That was naive of me.
Hey, that would be cool. But no, I think they're just looking at any new revenue sources that they can possibly get.
But you see, the thing is, they're saying that they're trying to help financially strapped state and local governments, right? Then they're saying, for many state sales tax.
That's the danger here, is you'll wind up with an additional tax.
No, the thing is...
It will happen.
Huh?
Yep. It will happen.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it is happening. I mean, if it's 69 to 27
well,
in the Senate,
who was it pointed out in the chat? it probably won't pass the House.
Says who?
No, I'm saying is that if it passes, I don't know. It depends on.
It'll pass.
So, John, you're saying it will not pass the House. I'm really curious as to your reasoning for that. I would love to hear that. I'm willing to take bets on it.
Yeah, I mean, come on. If it's that big a margin between the two, it'll pass in the House.
Well, John says Republicans generally see it as a tax increase.
Yeah.
That's assuming that they're going to stick together and oppose it, which I don't agree. I think they'll pass it. They don't care. They're not any better than the other side.
Well, are the 69 that vote for it are all Democrats?
I didn't look at the split, but I think that they'll. What's stupid about this whole thing? I saw someone run a poll on it, and it's something like it was 40. At least 40% of the people who voted thought it was a good idea. I don't know where this nonsense comes from that increasing your taxes is a good idea. Government, state, and federal government, Democrat, Republican, across the board, they are so addicted to money and spending that it is hopeless. It is absolutely hopeless. They will never get it under control. It's a matter of time. And yet people want to support that addiction. I mean, it's the same as I just found out your son is addicted to crack cocaine. And, we need to give them some more because they really get sick whenever they start coming down. We need to give them some more. Well, I know, but we're already at quadruple where we were a month ago. Well, I know, but just a little bit more won't hurt. It's absolutely insane. People, government is addicted to money. It is the opiate of government is money. They'll never get away from it. And Mike will bet you the $1. You can count on that.
Yeah, but remember we were talking about it last week, and I can remember you said that, Mike, that you're going to start seeing all kind of little companies coming up. And because, remember, this will only cover right now companies that make over $1 million. So in most cases, all your eBay is covered. I mean, not covered by that because I don't know people on eBay that make that kind of money that I buy from.
You'll have
Amazon,
lots of small entities and shell companies being created out of nowhere. That's subsidiary of a subsidiary of a subsidiary. It's just going to be insane. The amount of new business that is created in the coming year is going to be phenomenal. And then they're going to go, oh, look at all this new business and new trade and everything we've created. No, you've just moved it away, so they're not paying tax, you morons.
I mean, if you remember, the reason why us here in North Carolina cannot have affiliate accounts on Amazon or business on Amazon is because Amazon told North Carolina, no, we are not going to collect tax for you. So I'm wondering how Amazon now is going to do it and collect tax for every state. Because Amazon as a whole, they make more than $1 million. I don't know that they can break it and say, no, this guy is just selling through us. That's not us. I don't know how that's going to work. But I know, which party is the proponent of flat tax, sales tax, whatever, just
I don't know that any party has advocated it as part of their platform. You tend to hear the libertarians advocate it more so than anyone.
Okay, yeah, that's right, libertarian.
Well, our sales tax in this country is really whacked out. In the 1980s, we had about 250 different sales tax jurisdictions, and now we have over 4,200. And it's so difficult to kind of come up with some sort of system where you kind of keep up with it. But here's something that baffles me about the tax and how the taxes work. I don't know. Did we talk about this last week about if Mike were to buy something on Amazon and send it to me, he's going to pay New York taxes?
No, he doesn't. He does not.
Yes, he does.
He only if he makes more than $1 million, he would.
No. If you go to Amazon.com right now, and let's say Mike was buying.
Oh, and you drop ship.
What?
You mean drop ship it to you?
Yeah. So let's say he goes to Amazon and buys me a birthday gift.
Yeah.
And he buys me a Neumann TLM 103, $1,000. And he ships it to me. So he says, okay, so I'm buying it for Andrew, and I want to ship it to Andrew's house.
No, he tells Amazon to ship it. Andrew, there's a difference between telling Amazon to ship it to you or he buys it and ships it to you.
No. He's not buying and shipping it. He's telling Amazon to ship it to me.
Right.
He has to pay New York taxes on that.
Right now?
Yes.
So Amazon has an agreement with New York?
Well, they have a warehouse in New York, so they have a state presence. They have no choice but to collect sales tax in New York.
Yeah.
But it's not. So I figured this out when Suncast was buying some computer parts, and he wanted me to build a computer for him. And I believe the sales tax in Michigan is 4%. When he went to check out, it said he had to pay 8.625, which is New York sales tax. So whoever you ship something to, that is a sales tax you will pay. Doesn't necessarily mean even though you're purchasing it and you're in New York or you're in North Carolina and you're shipping it to wherever, you will pay the recipient sales tax.
Well, the thing is that sometimes, if you're going to buy something light and expensive, like if you went to buy a $5,000 diamond, then you could buy it, have it shipped to you, and then ship it to the recipient in New York, and you avoid that tax. But you will pay shipping twice, but it still be cheaper than sales tax to New York. Because if I bought it from Amazon and shipped to me, and I'm shipping it to you, then I don't have to pay that tax, not to Amazon and you don't have to pay in New York because you didn't buy it from a retailer that has to collect tax for you.
So let me ask you this.
But for a computer, it makes no sense because it's so heavy, the tax is probably cheaper than the shipping to somebody and then that somebody ships to you. So
it's a little weird how it works because it has a warehouse. But let's say, Mike, you were to buy something off of B&H. Are you paying North Carolina sales taxes or are you paying New York sales taxes? Because
neither one.
Neither. Why is that?
Because North Carolina doesn't have jurisdiction to collect sales tax on merchandise that is placed into the stream of commerce in New York State.
Because there's no B&H store here.
So you're not paying any taxes?
Mm-mm. If they had a B&H store here, I would be paying North Carolina sales tax on it because the company would have a presence within the state that gives jurisdiction to the state to collect that tax.
See, I find it all bizarre. I think you should pay if they were to collect taxes. You should pay. I'm sure Amazon has a warehouse in North Carolina, right?
No, they don't.
No,
they don't.
No.
So you don't pay any sales tax on Amazon.
That's correct.
That is true.
Wow.
Unless it's a
yet.
third-party seller that is selling through Amazon, then they will collect sales tax if they're in North Carolina.
So, I just don't understand that if you're purchasing something and you're in North Carolina, you still have to pay the sales tax for it in New York if you're shipping it to New York.
No.
Yes, I disagree. If the fact that in fact, this is what Dr. John's asking in chat, and I certainly don't know the answers to all these questions. I can probably lie about it, but he's saying, if it'll quit scrolling here, that is sales tax based on the ship to or the bill to? And my understanding is that it is based on the ship to. The bill to is totally irrelevant.
Correct.
For example, if I go into South Carolina, drive over to South Carolina, and buy a computer at a store there, like at the Apple store, then I would pay sales. Well, that's not a good example. But if I go in there to a local store, a local Yokel store, and purchased a computer, I will pay sales tax on it. If I wait until I get home and order that computer over the internet and have it shipped to North Carolina, since the computer was placed into the stream of commerce in South Carolina for North Carolina, I don't have to pay any sales tax.
Right.
So if I were to pay, I'm getting a little confused with this. If I bought something and I shipped it to you, Mike, would I have to pay sales tax on that?
Probably not. You want to try it?
Yeah.
I can send you a list.
Andrew.
Yes, sir.
Are you not buying stuff online?
I buy stuff every day online.
And do you pay tax for each and every purchase?
Absolutely, yeah.
He's in New York. Of course he pays tax. Why do you think all these Yankees are coming down here is to get away from that bondage?
Yeah, but I don't understand why. I mean, unless, because again, if the company that you're buying from does not have an agreement to collect tax for New York, or they don't have a store or a presence, a physical presence in New York, I don't understand why he would have to pay tax, Mike.
Well, generally, I buy my stuff on Amazon or
okay, that's different. I understand, but
I'm not buying it from small town shops that are online.
All right.
Does New York have a law that applies tax no matter where you buy it from?
If New York could have his way, it would tax me 40% on all things that I buy.
Wait, you don't buy stuff on eBay?
Rarely. Actually, you know what? I just bought something on eBay, so let me look on eBay.
And if that seller was not in New York, then you shouldn't pay tax.
I probably did not because they were in China. I bought something from China.
Okay. You definitely did not pay.
Well, before my head explodes...
Wait a minute. I bought it on PayPal via PayPal. So
that's fine.
PayPal possibly...
No.
Collect the tax on that.
No. Steve, you were saying?
I can say before my head explodes, because all this sales tax and whether you're in this state or that, it's a nightmare. I don't know how the hell you cope with it. It's so much simpler in England. You just have a value-added tax.
Yeah,
that's how the hell they call it value-added. I don't know, but
because I'll tell you why, and it's a sad
thing
because every time theoretically someone touches the goods,
Mike, we don't have Skype ducking, so Steve is still talking.
Oh, I couldn't hear him. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I know you wouldn't have done it intentionally, Mike. You see, with value-added tax, I don't know why the hell they call it value-added, but anyway, no matter where you are, where you buy it, where you have it shipped to, whatever reason you're buying it, you will pay 22.5% tax, whether it's online in from another store, unless you're buying it, for cash in the back street somewhere.
Right.
If you walk into a store, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you walk into a store and you look at an item and you say it's perfume and you smell it, do you have to pay tax on smelling it?
No, it's like you can pick up an apple and smell it.
It's a value add. You got pleasure of smelling it.
Yeah.
Mike, you were saying?
The sad part, this business about the sales tax and all this nonsense about government's addiction to money. Amnon, do you know what the original income tax was when it was first passed?
No.
What do you think it was? What percentage do you think it would have been?
I would say very low back then.
1%.
Yeah.
It's not that level now. It's higher than that now.
Of course. I remember when it was 4% in North Carolina, 4.5%?
Well, this is federal I'm talking about, but the point is that...
Wait, federal sales tax?
No. Income tax.
Oh, income, yeah, okay. Sorry.
Income tax. It was 1% when it was passed.
Okay.
And that's when the country started going down the drain, is whenever we allowed the government to start taking our money. Because the ownership, this is a political thing, it's ownership of private property is the definition of freedom. And whenever you go out and trade your labor for income and the government takes it, then that's whenever you are losing your freedom. But that's another story we won't get into right now. But the issue that I was going to bring up with Steve is that the last time, as I recall, this could be incorrect, the last time I was in the UK, the VAT was 17%. Now Steve says it's 22.5%.
They have to pay
if
for
we
health.
were to create a spreadsheet with a curve on it that shows what it was then versus what it is now, and then project what it will be in another 10 years, where's it going to be in 100 years?
Well, the thing is, it was 17.5%. You said 17.5 it was. And when they went through a recession, they dropped it to 15% in order to sort of, boost the economy, blah, 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 whatever. And because we were in such a state again, they bypassed 17.5% to put it back up to, and they've raised it to 22.5% now in order to, try and get us out of this debt.
And what they're too stupid to realize is that anything you tax, you suppress. If you tax economic transactions, you suppress economic transactions. When you suppress economic transactions, there are fewer jobs, fewer goods, fewer services. It's insane.
It's the same as, the war on drugs, war on this, war on that, war on whatever else. Look at prohibition. How much did that cost, and what did it do in the end? They had to give up because it was costing them too much money. And it's exactly the same with lots of other things that they try and tax it to death. At some point, they've just got to say, well, this is costing way more than we're even could dream of make. So what's the point? Insane. And you would imagine, you would learn by your previous mistakes and look at history and think, well, we better not do that again because we've learned that never works. But forget it. They just bury their head in the sand and forget all about the history books or rewrite them. Shocking.
Yeah, we just had this discussion yesterday. There's a conscious effort among certain groups to prevent our kids from learning history because what happens, and it's interesting to watch because people are in their 80s and 90s and so forth. They see things happen, and you'll see this little giggle or a little smile on their faces because people go out for the first time and do something, then they run to Twitter or Facebook or whatever and start bragging about, wow, guess what I just discovered? And it's something that just happens every generation, and this is just the latest person to discover it this generation. Things just go happen over and over and over again. You can look at what has happened throughout history and predict what's going to happen in the future. I've talked about it here before. My father-in-law is a very, very brilliant man. He is unbelievable how well-read he is. When I first met him 37 years ago, he gave me this long, drawn-out scenario about what was going to happen in this country. And he's nailed it. And it's not good. And what's going to happen in the future is not good. And I hate to be the downer here, but it's just not complicated.
Well, we are living it, and we're going to have to just face it when it comes.
Well, I told my kids, I said, you know what? My generation really screwed it up, and your generation's going to have to fix it.
Yep. All right.
I enjoyed talking to my father. He's 83, so he's pretty intelligent and has seen an awful lot. And he can remember talking to his grandfather and about their old times and how things have changed. And quite often he'll say, I cannot believe the way things are going, or it appears that things are changing now. It's just ridiculous. We're talking about paying tax and things like that. It's brilliant, isn't it? You got Google, you got Amazon, you got Starbucks, three multinational billion-dollar companies, and not one of them paid any tax in the UK.
Well, I don't think companies should pay tax.
Okay.
All right.
Why should they? Because this was actually the point I was going to make a while ago, and I forgot about it. The value-added tax. The theory that it was explained to me was that every time someone adds value to a product, it is taxed, and that is that whenever the manufacturer ships a product to a dealer, to a distributor, they add a tax because the value is they're adding the ability to distribute the product. When the distributor ships it to the dealer, they add a tax because that's adding value. Whenever the dealer sells it to the end user, then it is taxed at that level. So there are, in that example, 4 levels of taxation. And where maybe that sounds like it makes sense, but in reality, 3 of those levels are in essence hidden from the consumer. The consumer really doesn't realize how much they're paying in tax. If you look at some of the analyses of how much we really are paying in tax, when you consider you're paying income tax, property tax, sales tax, you're paying for internet tax, telephone tax. I mean, the list, if you look at it, and it almost seems like it can't be true. It just cannot be that many taxes. But Sean Hannity, of all people, did an analysis of his personal situation, and he's in the highest tax bracket you can get. And he lives in New York, and with his city taxes and so forth, he's paying 60% of his income to taxes, to the government. Now, John says, okay, but the people are addicted to government services. Well, I would argue that Sean Hannity is, let's say he makes $20 million a year. I would argue that he's not using $12 million worth of government services. So I just don't think it's fair, but I don't want to get too deep into that.
Hello, Bruce.
I'll tell you, I'm serious. I came very, very close to just try. My company's going to take Skype off of all our machines, all of the people on my team, and move us to Link, and then I would have never needed Skype except for something like this. But I have never, ever, ever seen a program with as many registry items in it as Microsoft Skype does. I mean, it is so full that, I've gone through 3 reboots, 3 uninstalls and reinstalls. My next move was to run portable Skype and be done with it. And boy, I mean, it has just been a bear. And nothing changed except I went to Florida for a week and I come back and I started up Skype. Skype worked fine for me yesterday. So
that took care of it after you cleaned the registry.
Who knows what took care of it? I mean, there's just no way of knowing. I did the percent program data, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I did the percent app data, made the file from Skype to old Skype and reinstalled. I did that twice, and this time, I just happened to crack the safe, but I don't have any confidence in the program.
And you still don't think that it has anything to do with Windows 8, huh?
No, I don't think it has anything. Well, I mean, I don't have Skype for Windows 8 installed on this machine.
No. I mean, but the fact that you are running Windows 8 on your computer.
Could be. I couldn't say that it doesn't have anything to do with it, but, it's worked fine for, 7 months since I've been running Windows 8 on this machine and without any problem. And then, I had that one little episode that was similar to this, where it says you're already signed in, I know one thing. I will never, 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 ever have Skype set to automatically start or automatically sign in when it starts. I want to have more control over it than that, because I think sometimes some programs that require internet in your boot up sequence try to start before the internet connection is solid.
Right.
And that creates some issues as well. So
yeah. So
did you say when you went to Florida you enjoyed yourself, Bruce?
It was fantastic. The weather was great. It was flooding here in Virginia, but it was beautiful in Florida.
Well, that's it then. You see, that's your comeuppance. You had such a good time in Florida.
And I'm even wearing the company shirt.
No, you can't have too much fun. You've got to have misery now because you've had some fun.
Yeah, I have Skype on my phone. I could have called. I did a little audio call last week, but on my phone.
It's the principle of the thing, isn't it? It was working yesterday, and you wanted it to work now, even if you could spend the whole day trying to figure out why it isn't.
No, it's a new day. It's a new day.
It took me almost 2 hours to be able to get here.
Get a Mac,
isn't it?
So I guess that means you guys are worth it.
It's not just 2 hours. It's a lot of aggravation, too.
Oh, yeah. My hair's turned gray. Look. But at least I still have it.
There's nothing to chew on now.
Remember when you ran away and I got on my knees and begged you not to leave because I'd go berserk? Well, you left me anyhow, and then the days got worse and worse, and now you see I've gone completely out of my mind. And They're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. To the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time. And I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha.
Thank you, Mike.
Anytime.
Well, so I'm up to the 6.3. I can't use XSplit on it anymore, but I'm here.
So, Bruce, what did you say the company is switching to?
They and we have a new director of IT. There's some concern about security.
Yeah, but you
on
said
our
they're
network
taking
with
it
Skype
off.
is concerned, so they're moving us to the new version of Link. They've just installed the new Link 2013 servers at our home office, and they will remotely uninstall Skype from.
What is Link?
It's Microsoft's. What's the term for this, Spencer?
Unified communication.
Unified communication. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
It's a system with a series of clients that lets you do chat. It started out as what was the original product, Bruce, that they had? It's an evolution of several different versions of
I can't remember.
chat. It started out as simply a chat agent. And it's evolved to being a presence. It gives you presence. It gives you the capability of doing one-to-one and one-to-many video calling.
You can do file transfers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And
it's if anybody's familiar with SameTime, it's like SameTime is to the
my
Lotus
understanding
world.
that the 2013 version is quite a bit superior to the previous version.
So it's actually Office Communicator is what was the predecessor to it, which is a chat file transfer.
Yeah, NetMeeting. Oh boy, remember NetMeeting?
So, but it's it essentially in its full implementation can be a phone system.
Well, in that regard, I had some interaction this week with a guy on the internet, I think his name is Mike Graves. I know it's MJ Graves, but this guy is dead into SIP clients. And it may be a pretty good score because he and I were interacting over my frustration that telephone people call wideband communication. If it has a G.722 codec, they call it wideband communications. Well, G722 is only has a 7K audio bandwidth, which if we were using it here on the show, it would not sound good at all. And it would be obvious even to people who are not into audio that the call just doesn't sound with the same quality that the Skype call does. In the connection when I connected with this guy, he and I started talking about what I thought the expectation should be, and he said, I understand that because he said my background is in broadcasting and in recording. He then started out doing some testing, and in fact, I've got two of his. Where is this? Here you go. I'll post links to these two articles. One of them sort of follows the other, and I haven't read both of them yet. I've been out of town, but. Anyway, bottom line is he is trying to research the viability of getting a true Skype replacement using SIP clients. There are a lot of variabilities that have to be accounted for, and he understands them. I do not. He seems to think that the Opus codec, I just posted the two in chat. He seems to think that that the Opus codec is going to be a solution to the problem. But one of the things that he hits on in the article that I know is right, he says that just adding the Opus codec to a SIP client is not going to solve the problem. There are other parameters that have to be accounted for and adjusted for to allow Opus to do its thing, including stereo. That being said, one comment that it was very interesting to me that I'm watching, he said that if you're looking for true wideband from one of the SIP telephone providers, you're not going to get it because they generally are going to limit the bandwidth of any audio to, say, I think it was like 8 or 9 kilohertz. because if they allow audio content above 12 kilohertz, they're going to run into what they call signaling issues. All this should make sense to you, Spence?
Potentially.
In that they use out-of-band signaling to control certain aspects of the telephone call, and if they allow true wideband, they're going to exceed the allocation, the frequency allocation for the communications channel, and could cause things like hang-ups and crosstalk and all that kind of garbage. That's enough of that. But what he is saying is that where you need to be looking for quality is with the video chat services. And what he's saying is they don't have the bandwidth limitations for the audio that the telco channels do, and you may end up finding what you're looking for in the video conferencing services. That being said, he's doing some research with the Opus codec and some other clients, one of them being Phoner Lite, Phonerlite, that allows you to adjust some of the parameters on the audio bandwidth, as does Bria, the software client. Bottom line is we're not there yet, but I'm cautiously optimistic that we are on the verge of getting something that can be used in place of Skype. Now, having said that, I'm sorry Nick's not here, but having said that, Nick actually set up a TeamSpeak server, and with an Opus codec, with the with an experimental or a beta version, we did an entire episode of Rick's House Radio Show using the TeamSpeak server, and I would argue that the average person would not be able to tell that it was not done on Skype. It was not quite as good as Skype, but I would argue that it was very, very useful. And if Skype went away today, my thoughts are that starting next Sunday, we would be using the TeamSpeak server with the Opus codec in the music mode.
What client would you use?
TeamSpeak.
So they have their own client.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, Eric is saying, and Eric knows this stuff because I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, but I believe that Nick's TeamSpeak server was actually on your server. And that's what we used. It's either on his or someone he had access to in New Jersey or something like that. But Eric is saying that TeamSpeak is much better quality than you can get out of Skype. I would like to think that's true, Eric, but that was not our experience. We did an extensive A/B comparison, and there was a little bit more digital noise in TeamSpeak than we were getting out of Skype. And what I attribute that to is the fastest bandwidth that we could get out of TeamSpeak was 96K, and I suspect Skype is up around 128K at some point. I'm not sure about that.
All right. Spence needs to do the specials. So
yeah, I need to go because I get going. I've got the family event beginning in a few minutes. But as far as SIP in general goes, it is a great technology. The issue is that it's a very broad-based technology, and interpretation and implementation of the standards can vary from vendor to vendor, as well as how it negotiates a call. And but it's when in a closed system, when a company adopts a particular SIP-based PBX, things work very well because they're all designed to work with each other. It's outside in the world we're talking about with interaction between disparate clients and disparate entities is where it starts to get really complicated, but they're working it out. It really has made a huge difference. More and more features every day. Okay, starting with Best Buy, we've got Samsung 15.6-inch i3 laptop for $379. We've got a Samsung 15.6-inch i5 laptop, 6 gig of memory, 750 gig hard drive for $549. They've got a 20-inch LED monitor for $89, a 21.5 LED IPS monitor for $119. They've got a Brother wireless printer scanner fax copier inkjet for $69, $30 off. They've also got the duplex version of that, which adds two-sided printing and copying, $119, which is $30 off. That's at Best Buy. At Office Max, they've got an 8 gig flash drive for $499, 16 gig flash drive for $899, 32 gig for $1899. They've got the Netgear WD300R dual band range extender for $59. Now, again, this technology is not necessarily easy to use, but if you need to solve a problem with range at home and you can't add a second router or access point because of wiring issues, this may potentially work for you. It does require some setup. Micro SD cards with the SD adapter, 8 gig for $699, 16 gig for $999. Asus 17-inch 16 gig Android tablet. This is a Sunday-only coupon of $119. It's $30 off. On Monday, it'll be at $129. The regular price is $149. They have a Samsung Galaxy Tab 2 10.1-inch 16 gig of memory for $299. It's $50 off. They have an 8 gig 7-inch version for $129. That's $20 off. Western Digital 2 terabyte network hard drive for $149. That's $20 off. They have a 20-inch HP LED IPS monitor for $89. Save $80. They have HP desktop wireless printer for $69. Save $10. And a Brother printer scanner fax copier. This is the business series. This is the one that's designed for small business, larger ink storage, faster printing. $129, save $70. That's the cheapest price I've seen for this particular model. That's at Office Max. At Tiger Direct, they have an Intel 180 gig solid state drive, $149. That's after a $30 mail-in rebate. 27-inch LED monitor for $199. 16-inch monitor for $69. A 20-inch monitor for $89. A 22-inch monitor for $109. They have the TrendNet wireless N150 router, $19.99, and they also have a mini USB adapter for $19. CyberPower 750 VA UPS for $69, and I think 750 would be, yes, 1,000 would be better, but I think 750 is a good, respectable size for carryover time. NetID wireless home adapter, which I believe, not NetID, Net10, which is, I believe, a way of providing home phone service over a carrier wireless network. So I know several people are using this. My uncle in Florida has an adapter. This is what provides his home phone service. Just plugs it into his existing phone wiring in the house and gets dial tone at all his phones. $84.99. I don't know what the service per month would cost, but to buy the adapter itself. LG portable Blu-ray burner. That's the first time I've seen this product. $99. IO Gear wireless HD computer to TV kit. So this is a way of connecting your laptop or computer directly to your television without having to have the device right next to the TV coming out through HDMI or through the PC port. So this is a way you can actually have it across some distance with wireless, $149. It's a Tiger Direct. And finally, at Office Depot, they've got a Lenovo 23-inch dual-core all-in-one desktop computer for $479. 7-inch Asus 16-gig Android tablet for $149, save $10. They've got a Brother wireless printer scanner fax copier with duplex for $99. They have a Brother wireless mono laser with duplex. Now, the reason I mention this is not all that outstanding as far as price goes, but this printer does 40 pages per minute, which is almost double what the typical printer will do, 22, 24 pages per minute. $199 is $50 off. We've got HP OfficeJet mobile printer for $199. It's Bluetooth and it's got a lithium battery in it. A 20-inch HP LED monitor for $89. Western Digital 2 terabyte network drive for $149. 3 terabyte for $179. And finally, a 14-inch Asus i5 touchscreen laptop for $599. That's all at Office Depot. And that is it. And I have somebody fooling around behind me here. This is my daughter, Emily. Say hi to everybody.
Hello.
So, yeah,
come on, Dad. Come on, Dad.
Go downstairs. So everybody have a great week. And
you too.
Safe computing. And happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
You too, Spence. Take care.
Tell everybody there too. Tell Pam
Happy
Mother's
birthday.
Day.
Oh, thanks everybody.
And a happy birthday.
You either get older or you don't.
Yep.
All right, everybody have a good week. Bye.
Talk to you. All right. Now, go ahead, Bruce. You had a problem again?
No, I just muted my mic because I was printing out something.
I mean, your video went down and up and down and up.
Well, that's because I was trying to see if whatever the newest version of Skype is would accept XSplit or not, and of course it still does not. So, but that's okay. I'm here. I'll leave it alone.
It
will accept BitBlaster, though.
It will not accept. It will not. Whoops! What happened there?
What?
It will not accept. I mean, it will not work with XSplit. Period.
No, it sees XSplit listed, but you can't use XSplit as a virtual camera in the newest versions of Skype.
That's not the first time that this happens, right?
No, not at all. And of course, I have no realistic expectation that all these disparate companies are going to not have this kind of situation where it happens where they make a change and it breaks something. I mean, that's going to happen, but it's nonetheless frustrating, and it takes a long time to get their attention, first of all, and then to get their cooperation and change.
But then they do it. I mean, well, XSplit will. Skype, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I can't use XSplit in Zoom anymore either. I have to use BitBlaster for that.
XSplit and Zoom?
Yes.
Are you actually trying to use Zoom? I thought it went pay.
Oh, I love Zoom so much. I pay $10 a month for Zoom Premium. Where else can you get 720p video sharing for up to 25 people, unlimited?
So why aren't we doing it, Mike? Tell me again.
Well, we didn't need it at the moment. If they had not gone to a pay service, I would much advocate that we do the Hangouts using Zoom instead of Google. Google Hangouts is the bottom of the barrel when it comes to technology.
I mean, can we not use Zoom instead of Skype here?
Well, you couldn't do 4-ups like you do with Skype, because
but he could capture the window.
Right, you could capture the window and having the switch, but you wouldn't be able to do the quad, because capturing the thumbnails in Zoom is not the same quality as.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it would be totally usable. The Zoom audio is not up to the same audio as Skype, but I don't know if you know it, Bruce, but the guy told me, I talked with a guy at Zoom, and I should have written it down because of what he told me. I was asking how they were able to have, let's back up a step. We're getting the ball ahead of us. if you go into a Google Hangout and John is asking the question, why is it bottom of the barrel? Because the video quality stinks and the audio quality is even worse. If you go into a Google Hangout, when I start talking, the video switches to me. Then when Bruce starts talking, it switches to him. If Bruce is talking for 5 seconds, 3 of that 5 seconds is spent bringing the video into focus. Right. So you're sitting there 2/3 of the time watching an out-of-focus video. That doesn't happen with Zoom. When it switches a little later, but it's always in focus based on my experience. Is that still accurate, Bruce?
That's still accurate. And the good thing about it not switching immediately is it's smart enough to know if somebody just coughed or tapped on their desk. So you don't get this erratic switching that comes just when somebody's dog barks. A dog could bark in the back room, and if he just barks once, the camera stays on the person who's actually talking.
I was talking with one of the developers there, and because I originally thought it was some guys in their apartments that were just putting together some neat open source things, they wrote their own codecs. These are former Cisco guys who went out on their own out in Silicon Valley, and they're dead serious about this thing. I mean, they are after the business market right now. That's why they're charging. They're not really into the consumer market. What they're trying to do is to get people familiar with the service, to use it, to like it, so that they will then go to the office and decide to subscribe to the service.
And you can still use it for free for 40 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So really, Zoom is a competitor to Google Hangouts, not to Skype.
No, it's a similar technology. It is not a competitor because they're not after the Hangout market.
Okay, it's under the Google Hangouts column.
Why don't we do a Zoom Hangout later today, and I will show you.
It's more a competitor to services like WebEx and GoToMeeting.
Right.
While it's not quite as feature rich, neither WebEx or GoToMeeting can come close to the resolution of a screen share in Zoom. Neither can they come close to 720p video on the video sharing.
And this guy tells me that they've got some. He told me what it was, and again, I didn't write it down. But there are some things that they're coming out with in the next few weeks that, when he said it to me, sounded totally amazing. Mm-hmm. Things that they're new technologies that they're going to roll out. It will be interesting to see. In fact, I think he said, I'm not sure, but he may even have said better audio
than Skype.
No, than they presently have.
Oh. I guess we're just spoiled with Skype. If there
what
was
happened is Skype set the standard.
Right.
And for some reason, unbeknownst to me,
no one else.
No one has challenged them on it. No one. It's not that they've challenged and failed, because the technology is there. They have not even tried to challenge them on it, in my opinion. I don't understand it.
It's probably because of bandwidth.
I don't think so.
And the other ones are saying, no, we're going to stay really, really trim and lean, and people don't need to have all this full voice because all they do is communicate to each other. To us, it's not good because of the broadcast. No question, we are an infinitesimally microscopic size of part of the market that wants the bandwidth. Right.
But the thing that aggravates me is that the technology is there. If I knew how to develop code like Skype-like code, if I were one of the Blink developers, one of those guys, I would have a Skype replacement, and I would be charging for it. It would be a reasonable price, but I would be charging for it. But it may turn out, only time will tell, it may turn out that the SIP solutions may leapfrog Skype. The reason being that SIP to SIP connections, that is, when I call Amnon using SIP to SIP.info as opposed to going through Skype, that is a peer-to-peer connection, it is a direct connection. It does not go through the same
server.
Well, that's not totally true, but it has a lower number of hops between them because of the type of connection that it is. Based on what I've been told, if anybody says that's nonsense, then I'll take what you're saying is true because I don't really know what I'm talking about. But a guy did tell me that you're going to have lower latency and a better connection using a SIP client than you are using one of the chat or Skype clients because of the consumer aspect of it.
Now, are these like Blink and the other ones that are out there today, are they still half duplex or they're full?
No, the ones I've used are full duplex. In fact, whenever we do Rick's show on Saturday mornings, I actually use Blink for the telephone calls.
So why are you using that ducking thing?
Well, okay. What time? 11:30. Okay. It's a different thing. It's a different concept. What happens is, just like a while ago when I was talking over Steve.
Right.
I couldn't hear Steve because of Skype ducking.
Right.
That is, Steve was talking through your mixer was feeding him back to me on Skype.
Right.
Since I was talking at the same time he was talking, my audio muted his audio coming back to me.
Right.
It was not intentional, Steve. I apologize sincerely. I could not hear you. I was listening, but I could not hear you.
That's okay. I knew you wouldn't have done it intentionally, and
okay.
It is a problem. We used to get it on talk show as well, so it is common.
Now, Amnon, if you were to call me and we had it set up, it would take. We couldn't do it right now.
Right,
But
I know.
If you were to call me on a SIP client and send nothing but return audio to me through the SIP client, when I was talking, I would have heard Steve because there would not be any muting, and
But
that is
that's
that
not what I
Skype is
asked.
half duplex. Only one person can talk at a time.
That's what I mean now. Since the SIP is full duplex,
Yes.
why do you even need something else to send the audio? Why couldn't we kill the audio altogether in Skype
Right.
and use SIP and that's
All right,
it?
Here's the question that Amnon is asking, and this is what I wanted to get to because we have people who don't follow or care about how this works, so I'll explain it.
Okay.
On the show that we do on Rick's house on Saturday morning, Rick is the host, is calling me on Skype here at home for his audio. I pick his voice up over Skype. I send return audio to him over a SIP client using Blink and SIP2SIP.info as the SIP server. The Rick's Skype connection to me is half duplex. Only one of us can talk at a time. The return audio to him is full duplex. Either one of us could talk at any one time. So Amnon is saying, why not just throw out the Skype and use just the SIP since it is full duplex? And the answer is the quality is not there. Skype has twice the quality of the SIP connection. It doesn't matter that he's through his headphones, that he's listening to a lower quality audio feedback. It is perfectly fine because all he's hearing is voice anyway. When I talk back to him over the SIP client, it is completely independent of Skype. When he's talking and then I'm talking back to him, if there's a telephone call, if there's music playing here going back to him over the SIP channel, he can talk at the same time. And since his voice is not on the same channel as the SIP client, there is no muting. There's no ducking between the two. And it works perfectly.
Okay, so in other words, the only reason we don't do it with SIP, with Blink for the audio is because of the quality of the audio.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
That's not the only reason. You've got the phone number for one thing as well. I mean, you'd have to come in through the phone, or other people coming into you, they would come in via Skype. So you still need Skype there.
Oh, no. I'm not saying don't use Skype, because I'm saying use Skype for the video but eliminate the audio on Skype and use a SIP client between us.
Yeah, well, that in effect was what we were doing on TalkShoe. We were connecting in via a SIP client into their phone bridge, which was fine if you're going SIP to SIP. But Skype is a lot more prevalent. You start talking SIP to a lot of people, and they go just sort of stare at you like you're some kind of moron, because it really is fairly technical in the way you get it set up. Once it's done, it's easy, but getting there for an awful lot of people, it's like, well, you're just talking Chinese.
Yeah.
Or Japanese. I don't want to be racist.
Mike, you know something? I mean, I would say that it is a toss-up between having super quality audio for our show or stepping on somebody else while they're talking and again and again and again. What do you think is more important?
I think the quality is more important.
Okay.
And the other part of it too, by having multiple people on here, I haven't even worked it out yet, but setting up the two channels between us could be challenging.
I know.
You may have to have a separate SIP client for each person. I haven't really thought about it.
Of course it would.
Well, I'm not sure about that. We may be able to do a conference.
Yeah, you've got
but if we did that, then, for example, when Steve is talking, when Steve would be talking, if we did that sort of conference, he would be hearing himself back with about a 200 millisecond delay.
Yeah, we're not doing it, so...
No, and Andrew's right. I mean, the one thing that you have to keep in mind when you're doing video is you always want the audio on the video channel together so that they remain in sync.
That's true. Yeah, that's another thing, yeah.
That's always going to be a major problem. It's like what we've currently got now, what you've currently got now is you've got your video and audio stream coming across the web at the one time. So if you're watching it and listening over the web, brilliant, it's all in sync, it's great. But for the people that are calling in either on the phone or on Skype, there's that delay, and there's no lip syncing there. So you mute the audio coming from the web, but because we're getting it through Skype, and they're quite often I'm looking and thinking, oh, they're not talking. Look across and think, has he finished speaking yet? Because there's quite a bit of a delay. There's sometimes 2-3 seconds, if not more.
Yeah, most likely it's more. Go ahead.
One of the things I would suggest, is nothing ventured, nothing gained. I have Skype Premium, so I mean I can do unlimited. But and the cool thing about that is, if you wanted to, you could even bring anybody in on video. You could have up to, obviously you wouldn't want to do this because it'd make the show go crazy, but you could have Andrew and a number of other people in, and when they talk, they would show up. But I think it'd be cool just to try Zoom for a show and then get some feedback from our viewers. One of the things that you could do with Zoom is, depending on, and you could do this with VidBlaster or XSplit. I mean, you'd have the full screen view of whoever's talking.
Right.
You would also be able to switch just to you only, Amnon, and hold
through
it there.
Zoom. Like
exactly.
Clicking on
you could also do a screen cap, as long as everybody was centered like we always are. You could do it. You wouldn't have to capture the whole thing. You could capture just a part of it, and you could do a side-by-side with you and whoever was talking. So there'd be some opportunity for some variety. You wouldn't be able to do the quad, but I'd say give it a try and see how the viewers like it or don't like it.
How big are the thumbnails?
Forget the thumbnails.
They don't work.
No, I forget the thumbnails.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe the guy said that they were going to provide a quad sort of grid in the future.
If they do, I believe in working smart and not hard.
Right.
If the audio wasn't quite up to Skype, that would be quite fine with me. But I think
audio is not important.
The audio is decent on Zoom. I mean, I use it every week for team meetings. I I do remote presentations to 183 people in a meeting on Wednesdays at our company, and we've got multiple
That's what I was
webcams.
saying. That's what I was saying. We are spoiled by Skype. We are trying to do everything. Any test is we compare it to Skype. That's the problem, Mike.
Well, but it's back to what I was saying, is that Skype set the bar, and no one is challenging them on it. But I think as technology moves on, I think we are going to see someone who says, "Oh, I get it now. I see what you're talking about." But the reason I say that is because, having said that, there is a rumor out there. I don't really think it's a rumor, but there's discussion that Skype is actually going to implement the Opus codec with stereo.
We've been saying that now for almost a year.
Well, they're slow to move. What's the incentive?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, the incentive is that people say, "Oh, wow, you're really setting the bar."
A single-purpose focused brand like Zoom is going to work faster and quicker to make improvements than Skype is, that's owned by this conglomerate called Microsoft.
I agree that. Yep. Absolutely.
It's the bell-shaped curve syndrome. They're going to go after the bell-shaped curve when, in fact, the challenger companies have to go out for more of the fringe to try to grab what's left.
Well, I would tend to say that if the quality is not, I mean, when we are coming this way right now, and people are listening to us on the web, the audio is being cut back by the CDN to I don't know what, but I'm sure it is.
Our audio?
Yeah.
No, you're cutting it back.
How?
By setting it at 64K on the VidBlaster output.
Okay, so if we went with Zoom.
Yeah. One more important thing to mention.
Wait, Mike. I want you to finish. So, what quality is Skype? I mean, in numbers. Do you know?
Well, let me answer that question by answering a little differently. To start with, let's assume for discussion, and Bruce, I don't know what the numbers are, but let's just assume for the discussion that Skype is 128K.
Okay.
You're streaming it at 64K.
Right.
So what you're saying is it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter because the audio is deteriorated by streaming it at a lower bit rate. So the fallacy is to say, all right, if we have one source at 96K and stream it at 64K
right.
versus 128, it won't make any difference. That's not true. The 96K reduced to 64 will sound worse than the 128K reduced to 64.
But by how much?
Who knows?
So it may be unnoticeable.
It may be.
Okay. All right.
Bruce, do you have any idea what the audio bandwidth is on the Zoom channel at this point?
No, not exactly. You know, the other neat thing about Zoom is you can, when you schedule a Zoom meeting, the URL remains the same in perpetuity. So you would have a Zoom link that would be identically the same week in and week out. It'd be something that you could post in there. You can mute people on Zoom now. It will also automatically, if you choose to, create an MP4 video recording of the entire show. It records it all while you're doing the show, and then as soon as you leave the conference, then it goes ahead and converts that to an MP4, saves it on your hard drive. When one of my employees misses the team meeting, I send them the MP4 file. They can watch the entire meeting and catch up on. And it's so much more interesting to have a video recording than it is just the audio.
Eric is making some comments in chat about WebRTC, and he's exactly right. Yeah. This whole WebRTC thing, if it catches on, is probably going to moot everything we're talking about, because it is, from what I understand it is an effort among people like us to get the egg-laying milk pig solution to all these problems. Audio, video, everything. It is supposedly the next big thing. There is a guy who has, in fact, the website is Twellophone, which is TWELEPHONE.com. I think Twellophone, that looks right. What he's doing is he has created an audio video SIP client that uses Twitter API to connect between users. Nick and I did some testing with it and could not get it to connect. I connected with the guy, Chris, who wrote the software, and he and I could not connect on the i7, but we were able to connect on the quad-core. So he's still getting some bugs out of it, but he's saying that WebRTC is going to just completely negate everything that we're treating as normal at this point in time if the predictions pan out. Would you agree with that, Eric? Do you think that that's the next generation?
Funny, I thought Twellophone was a 12-step thing for Skype users.
Well, it probably could be if he can't get WebRTC working right. Earth to Eric. Okay, yes, I agree. Okay, good. It remains to be seen, but it seems to me like the WebRTC thing is being supported by a group that has the same sort of objectives that we do. They're looking for more and better. And in fact, and a couple of things here that are really driving what we want, we talk about how microscopically small we are in what we want, the technologies we want made available to us through the internet. There are two groups that are actually driving what we want. One is, for some reason, is gamers. I mean, gamers cannot have enough audio or video bandwidth to make them happy, period, ever. I mean, until you get a negative ping, they're not going to be happy. And I'm glad because they're driving the market and they're making people perform better, including ISPs and so forth. But also, the other thing that is driving the audio codec development, including stereo and low latency, are musicians, where they want to be able to have online music sessions where Bruce is playing and singing in Virginia, and Amnon is singing and playing in North Carolina, and Steve is singing along in the UK, and they're all doing it in collaboration and synchronization with each other. I mean, that is the holy grail for the musicians, to be able to collaborate in real time. Who knows if that will ever happen, but that's something that people are pushing for. And WebRTC has that sort of approach in mind, from what I understand.
How far away are we from that?
Actually, WebRTC is out there. They're getting the bugs out of it. If you go to webrtc.org.
Yeah, but you have to have Chrome. You have to be running Chrome 2.5. You got to be running some Mozilla nightly build. I mean, it's not there. When will it be even close to where Zoom is at right now?
I don't know the answer to that. I think in some instances it's already up and working. I think the problem now is rolling it out to more markets and to more what am I trying to say?
What are you trying to say?
They're trying to scale it up at this point, is what I'm trying to say. They have it working in the lab, and I think that's where the enthusiasm is coming from, is that they know that it works. The question now is, how do they scale it? Because even when Apple or Microsoft rolls out something and it hits the broad market, it inevitably will show up some shortcomings that have to be dealt with for the larger user base.
Let me mention, and I mentioned this in the chat, and I want to mention that, reprise that, and one other thing. Zoom uses half of the CPU as Skype. Skype is a resource hog, just as the Google Talk plugin is. Zoom is not. The other thing is, if you wanted to bring me in on video on Skype on a mobile device, no way you can do multiple videos in Skype. However, the Zoom app on an iPhone and an Android device is incredible, and you can have multiple videos. In other words, I could come in if we were doing Zoom and I was off site. I could be on video with really good quality, just like I am right now. So,
Steve, you started saying something before.
Yeah, I was going to say that it is actually physically capable of being able to do that now. It's very, very expensive and needs specialist equipment, but it is possible to do that and do it real time. I'll put a link in the chat there.
Well,
yeah, I do a group every Sunday night, and we use Zoom. The only problem I have is with one person who is a Linux user. They have to run a virtual machine because you can't. Now they are going to support Linux. That's coming. That's one of the things.
What's wrong about running it in a VM?
Pardon me?
What's wrong about running it in a virtual machine?
Nothing's wrong with that. I mean, that's the only way. I have one member of my group that is a Linux user, and so they have to run. No, it's not George. It's a woman from Tampa.
Oh. You said the only problem. Why is that a problem?
Well, it's not a problem for her. I'm just saying if you're inviting people to come to your conference and they've got Linux, then you'd have to let them know ahead of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. Now for my meeting tonight, I use VidBlaster and with Zoom. And I have screen captures. I have videos loaded when I open the Zoom conference. And I can have it where people can't come in until I'm there, or I can have it where people just can come in. But I have some worship videos playing in the background, and then when it comes time to start, then I'll switch to my camera, one of my cameras. I just like it a lot, and we've my group, we've used Google Hangouts, and everybody prefers Zoom.
Once they get used to the idea of switching over.
Yeah, and the other thing about Zoom that you can only see 4 thumbnails at a time, so you have to hit the little blue arrow. If you got 20 people in there, you're going to see the person who's talking. But if you're just curious and want to see, like I am when I'm doing my team meeting, I'll look at some thumbnails just to see if I can spot who may be multitasking and not paying attention.
The other thing I forgot to mention about Zoom.us is their screen share. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Bruce said that.
I mean, it is in the same resolution as it is on your screen, on the user's screen. And I think Bruce was probably there when we were doing some testing. Whenever maybe Bruce did a screen share, we would reach up to click on something to close it, not realizing that we were looking at the screen on his computer. We were looking at an image of a screen, so you couldn't click on anything. It was just a picture. And that's how good it was. You remember that, Bruce?
Oh, yeah. And you can log into Zoom with your Google Plus account, or you can log into Zoom by just email and password, or you can log into Zoom by your Facebook account. What's cool is if you log in by Facebook or by Google, then you have all your contacts there. It's really easy to do a Zoom meeting with somebody.
So it has a limit of 25 when Google Hangout is 10.
Google is 10. If you have a business account, you can have 15. Skype Premium is 10. So, 25 people, and you never lose any quality when you get a bunch of people in there. So, and and just like in Google Hangouts, I can click on somebody's video and force them to stay. But anyway, I do have a premium account. I think we ought to try it in the next few weeks and
sure
see what it's like.
To.
I have one as well.
All right. Let's switch gears here. In 5.5 years, Android has come from nowhere to dominate the mobile landscape during the first quarter of 2013, according to a new report from research firm Canalys. The market, which takes into account smartphone, tablet, and notebook shipments, grew to 308.7 million, representing year-on-year growth of 37.4%. But despite this market segment, including traditional notebooks devices powered by Windows, it is Android, a product of the Open Handset Alliance, which is making the biggest gains. During the quarter, Android was the operating system powering 59.5% of smart devices shipped. Behind Android was Apple iOS with 19.3 and Microsoft with 18.1. Look at the difference from 59.5 down to 19.3 for iOS, and then down 1 more percent for Microsoft phones and tablets and stuff. This is just amazing.
Amazing in what way? How fickle people are, or what?
No, it's just amazing to find that out, because everybody was talking about how the iPhone is the leading thing, the iPad and the iPod and all those. Well, sounds here like Apple iOS is only 19.3% to 59.5% Android. And
that's not consistent with numbers that I've seen. I'm not saying that I'm right or wrong.
I don't know. Windows is only 1% less than Apple.
John says Samsung Android version is the big dog.
It doesn't matter who's the manufacturer. It's the Android.
What I'm saying,
the OS.
There are a whole lot of iPhones out there. I mean, for that number to be so small, I'm a little suspect.
I don't know.
But things are cyclical. People, the new iPhone comes out, but people run out and buy it. They love it. They get tired of it. What's new? What's better? Somebody else comes along with a bigger, better idea. They try it. They get used to that, and then all of a sudden, Apple comes out with something that people really like, and then all of a sudden they grab the focus again. So who knows?
Yeah. Now, you guys fly on business. Stuttery YouTube videos be gone. Frequent flyers may eventually get a reprieve from subpar in-flight Wi-Fi if the government allocates more wireless spectrum for airplane-friendly services like Gogo. What is that? Geo?
That's the online. That's the service that provides Wi-Fi to the airline.
The FCC has proposed auctioning off the rights to an additional 500 megahertz of spectrum for ground-to-air wireless services. More available spectrum would result in faster speeds and more reliable connection. The move would create more competition, in turn driving prices down for in-flight Wi-Fi. Many airlines now use Gogo for the in-flight Wi-Fi. However, the service can be unreliable or slow. And it's even worse during promotional periods when many passengers are trying to get online for free. And they were talking about, I didn't print that, but they were talking about one of the airlines actually going with satellite versus ground to air.
Well, I'm sorry, but I do not have to have Wi-Fi on an airplane. I can make it one day without being glued to the internet. Usually. It does help to pass the time away, but gee whiz.
Steve, I got something for you.
Oh, goody, I'm sat on the edge of my seat now.
It's interesting. British Telecom Retail has started testing carrier-grade NAT, CGNAT, with its customer. CGNAT is a controversial practice in which IP addresses are shared between customers, limiting what customers can do on the open internet. Although CGNAT goes against the internet original end-to-end principles, ISP says say they are forced to use it because IPv4 addresses are running out and IPv6 is not widely implemented. British Telecom's subsidiary PlusNet has already carried out CGNAT trials, and now British Telecom is trying it on option 1 customers who pay for low internet usage. So really it's I don't know why it's a problem. Oh yeah, I can see that.
Well, IPv4 is running out or run out.
No. I mean, why they're saying that it limits, but yeah, it's you can't open it. In essence, the ISP's router will work the same as your router at home, which you have one IP and you can operate 255 devices on it through your router. But here the ISP will do it. But at home, you can open certain ports to do things, and you're not going to be able to do it on the ISP because it's not your own IP. So I can see the problem there, yeah. But that's interesting. That will give them a lot of IPs back.
Yeah, well,
and we'll never see IPv6.
That's the problem because people aren't adopting IPv6, so they've got to do something because they've run out.
Well, that is the best way to implement it, is to know, there are no more, let's implement it. But instead, they're doing this.
Yeah, well, nobody likes change, do they?
Yeah, I know.
Look at the companies that are still using XP.
I have to duck out of here.
All right, Bruce.
All right. Bruce, thank you very much.
A screen. They're doing a screen test for me for Duck Dynasty, so I've got to duck out of here. So take care.
Right.
See you.
Take care.
Glad you got Skype sorted, Bruce. Have a great week.
Now, let's see if I can.
And I'm going to be behind him there shortly.
You are, huh?
I got things to do, too.
Yeah.
And in fact, by the way, let me ask a question first. I'm noticing that even though I'm sitting right beside my Netgear N300 router, my wireless router, and my living room is the floor beneath us, that occasionally my wife loses her internet connection, her wireless connection.
Wow.
And the only thing I can think of is that it's probably time to go get a new router. What do you think?
Or put the router in a different place in the room. Try it. Try it. I mean, move it as far as you can to one direction, another direction, and see. I mean, you may have to move it 1 foot.
Well, I may do that, but...
It may be sitting and there is a piece of... Maybe there's a computer underneath or a couple of towers sitting on the floor.
I understand.
You know.
Sometimes just moving it 45 degrees, just turning it sideways slightly will make a difference.
Because she used to complain that she would lose the show. So I think that maybe, I don't know, they keep, every time I've installed a new router, a wireless router, I've been very pleased with the improvement in performance. Every single time I've installed a new wireless router, I've been satisfied with it. I guess this one's been here a year or two, so maybe it's time to move up again.
Maybe it's running out of Wi-Fi. Is there a leak?
No, I don't know. I did nothing on the carpet.
You can just get a can of Wi-Fi and charge it.
Now, having said that, I will not be here next week at all.
You are in Charlotte?
I will be in Charlotte at my daughter's wedding.
Yay!
Oh, cool.
So, and at this time it will be all over but the crying.
Well, I mean, are you going to carry your smartphone?
I'm sure I will.
We expect you to give a report.
Well, we will see, but somehow I suspect that my time will not be mine next week. Starting Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
I imagine you'll be running around like a headless chicken.
Yes, I think that it's going to be an interesting time. But no, I'm really happy for my daughter and her fiance. He's a great guy, and I'm confident they're going to do really well together, and I'm really happy for both of them.
Yep, they will. You know they will.
Yep. Thanks, John.
Now listen.
So, with that being said,
wait a second.
I am
Listen to
going
this. Listen to this. Ever thought it might be a good idea to store encrypted data in a QR code video? Think about it. Using this technique, one could easily store 10 gigabytes of data to be available anywhere in the world and completely free. Ain't that something? Store it in a QR code video. 10 gig. All right.
That's an interesting thought. I had never really thought about that. That's
have your own Dropbox.
Yeah, it's an encoding system.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's bandwidth efficient.
Well, you want everything?
Yeah.
No.
It's like a few years ago that somebody brought out this technology of hiding data and stuff in an image. So if anyone looked at it, it just looked like a standard image, but it was like 14 megabytes in size.
Yep.
Now, Gene.
What? What about
Gene said, "Congratulations to your daughter. I feel sorry for your future son-in-law having to put up with you."
What a nasty thing to say.
I'm wounded.
Gene, you're getting in trouble here, Gene.
You're going to get a slap.
Oh, boy.
So anyway, hope that the weather is good next weekend because the reception is out at a country club and is intended to be outside, although they, of course, have tents and things set up. Yes, Gene, I do know you're kidding.
So there's no inside period?
There is. It will be fine if it rains because they have it's at a country club that has a lot of weddings and they know how to deal with those sorts of things. But it would be a lot nicer if we had weather like we did this weekend, which was absolutely stunning.
Yeah, I think they say it's going to take time before it rains again.
Well, I hope so. It says, and John wants to know if he will be required to check into Computers 2K now. I shouldn't be saying this, but he knows it. He's disastrous around computers. The best thing he could do is stay away from them. And in fact, you guys will get a kick out of this. He is so dangerous on a computer. My daughter bought him a Mac.
And
it's now he's now able to stay online for a while because he's not clicking on the stuff that he shouldn't be clicking on.
So, he just likes to click. We need to yell at him like we click it.
He's into wrestling and some other things, and so a lot of these wrestling sites they're into pay-per-view and click here, and he likes golf, and all these sports sites have all this add-on, click-on garbage and all that stuff, and I mean he wouldn't get viruses, he'd get malware. I mean not even adware, and it would take a while to clean it up. He's not doing the virus stuff, but thankfully now he's not into it. So anyway, I better shut up because he might be listening, but problem solved for now until people start writing malware for Macs.
All right, Mike.
All right, guys.
Yeah, I think we're going to leave too.
If I get a chance to check in, I will. If not,
all right.
Take care.
All right. Are you going to do something? Are you going to screen tonight or?
No, Nick is.
Nick is.
Yeah, I'll be around, but I've the Survivor finale is on tonight, and I will be watching that.
Oh.
Sorry, Carrie.
All right.
So if I can find Skype, I'm going to hang up here. All right, guys, take care. Brush your hair.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
All the best, Mike. Bye for now.
Thank you.
All right. Steve, is there anything else we need to talk about, or anybody else in the chat wants to talk about?
Nothing that I can think about. I'd finally managed my lifelong task of digitizing all my records and CDs
all
and DVDs and all the rest of it. The whole lot is now all on computer. Almost filled a terabyte hard drive.
Wow!
But I've finally finished it. Got the last of it done, so I'd no longer have to go and pick out a record or a vinyl or a CD. It's all on. Two hard drives now. One hard drive, which I'm going to put in my father's place, and a little portable one. It's a little Samsung I've just got, and it's tiny, fits into a shirt pocket, and I've got my entire music collection on it. Amazing. Took a long, long time, but it's finally done. Now I've got nothing to do, so if anyone's got any ideas or wants me to help them with something, please get in contact, because I've got nothing to do now. I've finished doing my music.
All right. All right.
Well, have a great week.
You too.
And we'll speak to you next Sunday.
Thanks for helping out.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's thanks for allowing me to.
And thanks everybody in the chat. And before we go, let me do this one more time.
Hey everyone, it's time to get off the couch and overcome procrastination. Procrastination is about fear. What are you afraid of? Do you even know what you're afraid of? This workshop will help you step out of fear and move forward. You get 3 nationally known experts, see from the comfort of your home, interact and ask, chat, or Skype a question, review the workshop as many times that you want for a week, and have 3 different perspectives for one problem. Here to join us is one of the panelists, Geraldine Thomas, a professional organizer. You might have seen her on Hoarders. Geraldine's going to give you a quick preview of what you're going to learn from her.
What are you guys waiting for? Come on, stop the procrastination. Join us next week as we go through procrastination, motivation, education. You know it's not about the stuff, but we're going to talk about the stuff. The stuff in your head, the stuff in your house, the stuff in your car, the stuff in your garage. Just stuff all over the place. Hope you can make it.
For more information, go to reawakenyourbrilliance.com, and you can save $5 with the code RYBPRONO. Hope to see you next Tuesday. And remember, if you can't make it live, it will be recorded. So get off the couch and overcome procrastination now.
I'm sorry there, but I forgot that. Good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thank you for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something for our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're there, like us on Facebook by clicking the button on the lower left. Tonight at 8 o'clock, we're going to have Carrie's Psychic Cafe. Carrie will answer questions and, in general, just entertain us. Tom will entertain us. 8 till 9 o'clock, right here on Nissan Communications. And tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, it's going to be Debbie Bruck with Health In, talking about homeopathy and everything else that goes with it. See you later, everybody.